by Kirkland and Sommers. All right, I feel like it's been a long, long time, but here we are. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We are live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and you can watch the show live. We appreciate you no matter how you tune in, whether it's on air at 1410 Wing AM, whether you're streaming us live at wingam.com or hanging out with us on Facebook or YouTube, of course. Make sure you download and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. We appreciate in any way how you contribute to the show. But again, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Excited to hang out with you here today on a Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday, not a Monday or
not
a Wednesday.
Monday.
It is Tuesday.
Off yesterday for the Reds' final spring training game of the season. They wrapped that up. What's the record? Who cares? It was spring training. I don't really look. Spring training. I always say this. I love spring training because you hear it on the radio, watch it on TV. It's just the reminder that warm weather is approaching. That we are, we're kind of putting that winter weather behind us. However, I do find it hilarious that for those of you who have tickets to opening day on Thursday, it's a high of 37. So,
ouch.
Yeah, it's
going to be 70 today, right?
I'm very, very excited that I did not win any tickets to go to that game because I have no interest in going. But no, actually, I've never been to a Reds opening day game. Have you ever been to Cleveland baseball team opening day? That's your team, obviously, but no opening day. Yeah?
Never been to opening day. Been tons of games, but never to opening day.
I've been to a lot of opening night games. In fact, years ago, I went to Cubs and Cardinals opening night game that was on ESPN. Nice. That was, for one, it was Wrigley. I wanted to go to Wrigley for a night game, and then you had the opening night against the Cardinals. It was just, man, Chicago is a special place to watch a game. I tell you that much, especially at night. Then you go to the bars after, and the live bands everywhere. It's shoulder to shoulder with people. It's every COVID nightmare out there for people, right? But nonetheless, a lot to get into today. I hate the pro days. I think that they are from a media perspective. And then you have other media members who literally drool over this stuff. And more power to you. I'm not going to lie. If they said, hey, Kenner, do you have a pass to come to this? Maybe I think I would go just to, look at the big names that are in Columbus today. Louis Riddick's in Columbus, by the way. I saw he said the plane's up. He's headed to Columbus for the pro day. I thought that was pretty cool. But Justin Fields showed out today.
Yep.
I'm a little angry. Everyone knows that I hate the Buckeyes, right? Not really, but that's what everyone tells me. Everyone says, man, you're just a Buckeye hater. And then, during NFL season, I'm a Bengals hater, and basketball, I'm a UD hater. I'm just a hater all around, right? I just can't win. But this whole idea that Justin Fields has to rebuild his draft stock is absolutely nauseating.
Mm-hmm.
I know we get bored. That's the deal. We do this show every day. All right. We do it for 3 hours. Content, I never find that it's that difficult to come by, but I do understand there are certain stretches where if something newsworthy doesn't happen on a day, it's like, man, we got to stretch out what we did yesterday a little bit, maybe find something a little different. Let's tweak this. I get how that, but I do believe that these quarterbacks, like Justin Fields, is a victim of the media circus that is the coverage of this, right? To sit there and act like owners and general managers who do their own scouting, who do their own investigating, who do their own due diligence, right? You can't tell me that the fan in them doesn't have ESPN on or Fox Sports on or whatever show it is that they watch. You mean to tell me that they don't tune into those shows? And you mean to tell me that they don't get skewed one way or another? Right? You mean to tell me all of that, you watch Get Up and those other shows and they're literally doing all this film breakdown. They're doing all this free work for you. These owners and GMs can sit back. They can watch all the film that's being put on there by Dan Orlovsky and others, not saying that they should be who you're making your decisions off of, but they're breaking down film in front of you. So my point is that we get bored with content from time to time. We want to mix it up. And man, I've been telling you how this quarterback's the best even before the season ended. I don't know if I can continue telling you that same narrative for the next 3 months until the draft. So we need to mix it up. We need to take flabby body Mac Jones and turn him into the surprise number 1 pick. Man, some scouts are telling me, my sources are telling me that man boob Mac Jones, he could potentially go number 1 overall. In fact, there's rumors that Urban Meyer loves Mac Jones. Not really, but that's what we do, right? That's what's going on. So now all of a sudden, Justin, it was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, the face of college football, not just because they're the star quarterbacks on the 2 of the biggest brands in college football, but it's because they were the 2 best college football quarterbacks, and they were on the fast track to the NFL. And then Justin Fields has a couple iffy games, and now he went from being the most athletic, smartest, greatest quarterback in college football outside of Trevor Lawrence to, well, man, I would pick Mac Jones over him. I would take Trey Lance, who didn't even play last season and only played in select amount of games the season before that. I'll take the BYU guy who throws a lot of interceptions, by the way, but hey, he threw that really nice pass in his pro day against no defense, no pads, but hey, more power to you. It's a joke. I think that the narrative needed to be changed up a bit. And then again, when you start saying something long enough and you start hearing something long enough, you almost start believing it after a certain amount of time. Justin Fields is the second damn best quarterback in this draft. And this is coming from someone like me, who everyone says I just hate on the Buckeyes all the time. I do not. I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft. And if he goes to the San Francisco 49ers, I'm not going to call that he's going to be better than Patrick Mahomes, but he will be the next quarterback like Patrick Mahomes that comes in and from day one just dominates the damn league because he will have weapons everywhere. He'll have an offensive line. He'll have a top 5 defense. He has one of the top 5 coaches in the National Football League right now. We have to stop with this. We have to stop trying. I feel like the media is trying to overcompensate for the mistakes and the flaws of the other quarterbacks like Wilson and the kid from North Dakota State. Trey Lance. There we go. You have all these guys who I feel like they are trying to tell you everything that's great about them. And all they're doing with Justin Fields is telling you everything that's bad about him.
Right.
That is the problem I have with this. He had some reports came out today. Matt Norlander comes out and says, it was the best draft. It was the best pro day for an NFL for a college quarterback that he's witnessed in years. Now, what does that mean? I'm not a big fan of pro days, but these scouts are looking for something different than what we're looking for. We just like to, take it in because we're fans and it's just more Buckeye content, more power to you. But we got to stop with this. Justin Fields does not deserve to have to rebuild his image. He does not deserve to have to convince people. So today he has this kick-ass workout. He runs like a 4.4 in his 40. Oh, man, he's super fast. That's great. But remember that throw that Wilson had against no defense and with a receiver he's comfortable with in a route that he knew he was going to run. No shoulder pads, no pads at all, no pressure. Give me a break. So bottom line is I know that these pro days are meant for the players to kind of get back in front of scouts. But what Justin Fields did today was just remind people, hey, you guys keep focusing on what I can't do. It's about damn time you start paying attention to what I can do, because what I can do, I could do better than all these other MFers. That's where I'm at with this. I'm fired up today because this whole slander against Justin Fields. And if I hear one more time, no Buckeye quarterback has ever made it in the NFL. Justin Fields ain't every other quarterback. He ain't Craig Krenzel. He ain't Troy Smith. Troy Smith's a fantastic talent. Don't get me wrong, but I'll take Justin Fields over Troy Smith any day. And by the way, you can't go wrong. If I ended up with Troy Smith, you're totally fine too. All I'm saying is that I don't care about the past. This is about the now. Well, eventually one quarterback is going to just take off in the NFL, and it's going to be a Buckeye quarterback. And then what are you people going to say? Well, only one quarterback has made it from Ohio State. The numbers aren't in your favor. A
couple things to unpack, man. You are on a tear today, and I like it. One, everything that comes on the radio, comes on TV, is a product. It is there for entertainment, and it is there to keep your eyeballs on it. So that's why you have all these hot takes from the guys on ESPN, from the guys on Fox Sports about guys coming out of college. And you're 100% correct. This is part of the reason.
Damn right, I'm 100% correct.
For a change. This is part of the reason why other guys skyrocket up the draft board. Yes, these teams have their scouts and GMs doing their job. But you know who doesn't do that job? The owner. The owner's in his office doing what owners do, cutting checks and everything like that, and watching ESPN. And then the owner gets in there and meddles with things and says, hey, I've been hearing them talk about this guy. I want you to look at this guy. Not saying they're right or wrong. I mean, they own the team, so they have every right to say, hey, I want y'all to check this kid out, potentially for our team. So we got to think of that aspect. Also, I do find it funny that when they talk about how Justin Fields, quote unquote, struggles versus pressure and everything like that, they show 2 games. Because guess why they only show 2 games? Because he only had 2 bad games in his entire career. Yeah, it is the Indiana and the Northwestern. They show those games. He was terrible in both, no doubt about it. And what did the coach do, especially in a Northwestern game? He took the ball out of his hands and put it into his running back hands, who broke a record for Ohio State rushing. Trey Sermon went for over 300 yards, and they won the game. And he was a quarterback on that victorious team. But you could do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. You could dig up tape from his sophomore year. Remember his sophomore year when he started out throwing just as many interceptions as he did touchdowns? You know, the Georgia Tech game where he threw 2 interceptions, the North Carolina game where he threw 2 interceptions and they won by a point. And then I don't care what anybody says, in the Ohio State Fiesta Bowl game, yes, he was the quarterback of the winning team and he guided them to victory. But he didn't guide them to victory with his arm. He guided them to victory with his legs because Trevor Lawrence is a supreme talent, not only throwing the ball, but running the ball. He ran them to victory, something that we weren't prepared for. So that's kudos to Trevor Lawrence. But let's not get it twisted as if Justin Fields is the only quarterback in the top rounds to have bad games. Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 pick, had bad games as well. So I do find it quite funny that all they told was talk about how Justin Fields struggles against pressure, and they show those 2 clips. Well, that's your job to coach him up. Here's a small analogy. My nephew, he's 5 years old. He's learning how to read. In September, struggling. Now, doing a lot better. It's baby steps. You have to grow. You coach him up, just like the teachers are teaching my nephew how to read. That's their job. That's the job of the team that drafts him, to coach him up, to make him recognize, like, hey, if you see this slot guy blitzing, there's going to be an open zone there. Throw it to that hot route or check it down to the running back. And we saw him check it down to the running back during the Clemson game. So he showed the ability to learn those things. And it's the jobs of the offensive coordinator and the teams to make sure he continues to excel at that. So I just think that Justin Fields is going to be a great player, and it's coming down to him and Mac Jones. And the reason I still believe that Justin Fields is going to be taken with the 3rd pick to the San Francisco 49ers, it's not because Mac Jones has a dad bod. It isn't any of those
man
things.
boobs. His man
boobs, or he's not in chiseled shape. He doesn't look like, Robert Griffin III when he came out of Baylor, looking like a track star or looking just like a mound of muscle. I'm going to go with it simple as this. Everybody and their mom has said that Mac Jones is probably going to go to the late teens to the early 20s. Why in the world would San Francisco trade all that equity and draft picks to move up that far to get a guy that they could have got later in the draft?
Well, I will say this. Shanahan was at, this is where I get concerned about this, us wanting Justin Fields to go number 3. Shanahan was at Alabama's pro day today, not Ohio State's. He was at Mac Jones' pro day, not Justin Fields. I found that fascinating. But shout out to Robert Miller, all right, on Facebook. Okay, he's tuning in right now. The chat section right now, we're going to get to these. There's a ton of responses in here. Maybe I should start liking the pro day because it generates quite the reaction. Robert Miller says, I'll take Mac Jones before him every day. Awesome. You know what, though? We talk about how we're not impressed when quarterbacks complete passes on their pro day because, there's no defense and they're not wearing any pads. What would be more embarrassing is quarterbacks who overthrow their receivers. And Mac Jones today, on 3 different occasions, overthrew wide open receivers in his pro day. Again, no pads. He had extra padding. Don't get me wrong. Extra pads, no pads. I'm sorry. He had no pads, no defense, and Mac Jones is out there overthrowing. I mean, how do you overthrow wide open receivers? I mean, that was your only job this year, was to throw the football to wide open receivers. Mac Jones didn't even have to read coverages. You dropped your flabby self back. You took 2 looks, and then boom, there was Davis or Waddle wide open. It was really that simple. It was not that hard to be Mac Jones. Mac Jones, then now you're overthrowing guys in your pro day, and you have Alabama fans in the chat section trying to tell me that I'll take Mac Jones over Justin Fields any day. Give me a break. Give me a break. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
That you're right. But one thing Mac Jones won't be taking with him is that offensive line, those wide receivers that he has at Alabama. That's something, if you've been listening to the show since I've been on, that's something that I harp on. I want to make sure the quarterback that I'm drafting is the reason why teams are winning. I'm not 100% sure Mac Jones, Tua were the reason that Alabama was winning. I'm just not. I'm just not sold that that's why they were winning. Yeah, they were winning games and they were part of the great victories and the national championships. There's no doubt about it. They were a major cog in that wheel. But were they the reason why they were winning? I don't believe that they were. I believe that they were cogs in the wheel into the Alabama system. Now it's getting them drafted in the first round, a lot of money in their pocket, generational wealth. I'm all about those type of things for these young men, but I'm just not sold that they were the reason why Alabama was winning those games the way they were. I think it was a culmination of talent that overwhelmed teams, and he was the trigger man, just like I believe the same thing about Tua. And I said the same thing about Tua last year. I just didn't believe that he was the sole reason why those teams were winning. Now, you look at a Jalen Hurts, when he was playing in the Alabama system, it was kind of built around him. And then he goes to Oklahoma. Him and CeeDee Lamb were the sole offense of those teams. Like CeeDee Lamb had like 1,800 yards and 1,800 yards receiving, and Jalen Hurts only had 3,000 yards passing. They basically, hey, you go deep, I'll throw it to you. They were the entire offense. So those are where I differ with a lot of people, man. I like to see the guy that I'm going to be drafting to lead my franchise is a guy that is the reason why the college football team is winning.
Yeah, and then again, right on cue, and Shaw called it out when I said that he overthrew his receivers. Shaw called it out and said, but Justin, he just showed how strong his arm is. And then not even a second later, Robert Miller says, but he has no arm strength, remember? So Robert Miller, I love you, man. Like the Roll Tide, man, they need to get you on their PRs. Like you could spin anything. Man, he overthrew his receiver. Yeah, it's because he has such a strong arm. The receivers need to run faster. That's on them. That's one hell of a spin. You overthrew receivers on the pro day.
To be fair to Mac Jones, he wasn't overthrowing them in the regular season when it really counted.
You're a hater. We don't make
it like 70%, which is ridiculous.
Well, that was back when he was in shape during the season. He's a little out of shape right now. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. I want to pick up with more of this on the other side. You heard our take. We're going to read your takes here on the Facebook chat. Again, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us there and letting your take be heard. But I found this fascinating. All the talk about Justin Fields, and I just don't understand. So 3 games, we're going to take all the good games. Justin Fields almost has more, like he has 3 bad games, which is almost like 10 times the amount of total games that Trey Lance has played in his entire career. Really? Like, this is fascinating to me on how quickly names, like I almost wouldn't want to be, like Mac Jones was in the perfect spot, Kev. Mac Jones, we never talked about him during the regular season of the college football year saying, man, he's going to be a future pro one day.
Right.
And I think that helped him because the narratives get tired. We've talked about Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence for years. In fact, last year, we spent most of the year just bashing Trevor, not we, but like media as a whole bashing Trevor Lawrence because the narrative got boring. It was exciting when he was a freshman, won a national championship.
On to the next.
It was exciting in year 2 when he led his team to the national championship game. But my goodness, a year 3, do we really got to do this Trevor Lawrence is good thing again for year 3? No, now we don't even talk about him. Now we move on to Justin Fields. We've talked about how good he is for a long time. And now we're bored with that. So we got to start convincing you that he's not that great and that these other prospects are better. And that's where Mac Jones came in. Mac Jones wins a national championship, has a fantastic season. And I'm not taking anything away. I don't like when people take pro statuses and eliminate what they did in college. That's why I hate that narrative that, well, no Buckeye quarterback has ever made it in the NFL. And that makes those quarterbacks any less special because why? Like, you know what I mean? Like Dwayne Haskins, let's say he never figures it out. Do you think that'll ever erase the fact that he was a Heisman finalist and had a record-breaking season with Ohio State? You think that'll change that? JT Barrett, not my cup of tea. But do you think that him never making it off a practice squad in the NFL is going to take away from the fact that he is a, historic Buckeye quarterback and will go down as one of the best of all time? That's coming from me saying this. We got to stop with this whole narrative that Buckeye quarterbacks are trash. I don't hate him. We're cool. We hung out in the boat.
Did you tell him how you felt about that?
Why do people always say that? I always tell people this. They're like, so when you hung out with JT Barrett, did you tell him that you don't think he's a good quarterback? I'm like, do you tell people everything that's on your mind at the time? And maybe it came up. I told him how great he was. I ain't no fool. Hey, we'll be back in a moment. 457-9464. Let's open up that phone line, and we'll get your takes there. But, man, it's filling up in this, and we'll get back to your reaction in the chat section. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and get in on the conversation there. It's The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 75. Tonight's going to be cloudy with showers, a low around 43. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you ready for the real madness? It's the online Miami Valley Fortnite Tournament, brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and Connect Esports. Area youth ages 9 to 17 are invited to compete Saturday, April 10th, with a max of 99 players. Prizes will include passes for you and a group of friends to the Connect Esports console room, along with a giant Lee's Party pack of food or a brand new PlayStation 5. You must live within the Miami Valley to participate. For complete contest rules and to register, check out the events tab at connectesports.com.
Y'all, Jimmy Allen here. Life is full these days. Just dropped my new EP, Betty James, collaborating with true music greats. My day's pretty busy, packing 48 hours into a day. I've joined Dove Men Plus Care Deodorant to shout out all of you putting in those kind of days. The eucalyptus and birch deodorant delivers 48 hours of protection, keeps me feeling fresh and confident, and it smells great too, which my fellow musicians have appreciated. Dove Men Plus Care Eucalyptus and Birch Deodorant, made with plant-based moisturizer that cares for your skin. Buy it now at Walmart and Target.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
What's in store this week at your local Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has amazing prices on the furniture, supplies, and technology you need to upgrade your workspace.
And now at Staples, save $60 on Apple AirPods Pro.
Go wireless, be more productive, and save on Apple AirPods Pro. Now just $189, our lowest price ever.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples.
Ends 4/3/21. Limit to in-store only. Curbside available in most stores.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Panera's new flatbread pizzas are here, but to our new chef, Klaus, they're not just pizzas, they're masterpieces. Because it's not just cheese, it's hot and melty mozzarella and fontina cheese. It's not just sauce, it's market tomato red bell pepper sauce. And it's not just toppings, it's fresh mozzarella, basil, and grape tomatoes. Taste our delicious new flatbread pizzas today. Order online for pickup or delivery. Panera. Restrictions apply.
Ever wonder what makes Omaha Steaks so good? Order today and find out at omahasteaks.com. Enter RARE into the search bar for the Butcher's Best Sellers package at an exclusive price and save over 50%. This package includes 29 items from the Fork Tender Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon to savory pork chops and so much more. Plus, when you order today, you'll receive 4 chicken breasts and 4 extra burgers for free. Go to omahasteaks.com, type keyword RARE, R-A-R-E, into the search bar and order the Butcher's Best Seller package today.
When you need certainty in the home buying process with a loan that fits your life, Rocket can. Want to see your loan options, adjust payments and closing costs online in real time? Rocket can. Rocket Mortgage.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. I'm adamant that I want Justin Fields to head to the 49ers, but I do find it a little odd, Kev, that Shanahan would be that he would pick again. Not this isn't I'm mad that they picked Alabama's pro day over Ohio State's pro day, but I do find it odd that you picked Mac Jones pro day over Justin Fields pro day. Folks, I don't come at you from a Buckeye perspective or an anti-Buckeye perspective. I just come at you from what I'm feeling and vibing. And right now, if Justin Fields was the Clemson quarterback, I'd be saying the same thing. I can't fathom that. I just cannot fathom. I mean, good for Mac. And by the way, good for Mac Jones. Good for him. Good for Baker Mayfield years ago, not being considered one of the top quarterbacks in that draft and then ends up being the number 1 overall draft. Like good for guys that do that. And bad for guys like Sam Darnold, who are told to be the face of a particular draft class and end up being one of the worst ones of that particular draft class. It happens. There is no for sure thing. The likelihood of all 6 of these guys, actually, or 5 of these guys panning out is very, very, very slim. And to me, the chances of it being Mac Jones working out is extremely slim. I think that Trevor Lawrence works out. Look, I've been a Trevor Lawrence fan since his freshman year. I've been a huge fan of his from the very beginning. He will work out, and whoever the Niners select at number 3 will work out. I do believe it'll be the Patrick Mahomes type situation for Justin Fields if that's the case. Now, in the chat section a little bit ago, I have to go back and find it. Where'd it go? Vincent Waller says, Trevor Lawrence is the only quarterback in the draft that I think has the chance to be a great NFL quarterback. I think that Wilson will be a bust. Fields will be okay, but to keep saying that he has Mahomes potential is laughable. Folks, we didn't know what Mahomes potential was until he became until he got his shot with an established team, a team that had a running game, a team that had an offensive line, a team that had wide receivers, and a team that had a defense. That's why Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow, we don't know who Joe Burrow is right now because Joe Burrow doesn't have an offensive line. He has a running back, but they didn't have a real run game. They did not have a good defense. So we don't know who Justin Fields is or who Joe Burrow is. So I started looking at that 2017 class. Of course, and I can't find it now. I think I lost it. But either way, here it is. Sorry. So I looked at the 2017 NFL draft first round. Let me ask you, Patrick Mahomes Cleveland had the number 1 overall draft pick that year after they went 0-16.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, that would have been the 1-15 year. They get Myles Garrett. If they get Patrick Mahomes, is Patrick Mahomes. No. Talented quarterback, but he's not. He will not have a $500 million contract, and we are not putting him in the top 5 quarterbacks. So he's definitely not top quarterback in the NFL if he gets drafted by the Browns in 2017. Mitchell Trubisky, or the Chicago Bears had the 2nd pick that year. Is Patrick Mahomes that 2017 or 2018 season?
Not that season, but I think there's something to say about organizations and who you go to and who you're coached up by. I do believe there's a couple guys out there that no matter where you put them, their talent would shine through, like Aaron Rodgers, like their talent would shine through. But Mahomes, like, people got to understand this, man. Like, one, he was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. Really, he was a baseball player. His dad played in the MLB and everything like that. 2, when he did get drafted in the 1st round, all they did was show the highlights that he had against Oklahoma in that epic game versus Oklahoma versus Baker Mayfield and everything like that. They both threw for like 600 yards. The score was like 70-72. And people discredited it by saying, they don't play defense in the Big 12. So people overlooked Patrick Mahomes, even when he's putting up ungodly numbers, even though he has all the pedigree in the world, and people refuse to see where the NFL is headed. And people just passed it over. And he sat on the bench as a rookie year, learned the game from a pro like Andy Reid and Alex Smith, and came in the 2nd year guns a-blazing. And he's set up in a perfect position. And we talk about this all the time about how important coaching is. We saw Baker Mayfield his rookie year ball out. 2nd year, Freddie Kitchens had the helm and had control of the whole organization and lost everything. There's a lot to be said about having too much on your plate. And that's what I believe that Freddie Kitchens had. He had too much on his plate. He didn't just simply, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that. But he couldn't simply concentrate on playing and calling the game. He had a million other things to worry about. And then the team went off the rails. Now you insert a new coach that knows what he's doing, a grown up and everything. And boom, look, Baker Mayfield's playing good football. You have to respect these guys that are coaching these guys up. And the simple fact that if Patrick Mahomes would have went to an organization that has no direction, he would have probably flamed out too.
So, and Vincent Waller disagrees. He said, not true. Everyone knew Mahomes' arm talent was elite coming out. Fields does not have the same. He may not have the arm talent, but it's not that he doesn't have talent. It's just
what's arm talent? Please define arm talent, because people start using all these cool buzzwords that they hear on ESPN. What's arm talent? What is arm talent?
I've yet to see what Justin Fields, since when can he throw? How many big plays did he make? Not just this season, but last season. I mean, even that Clemson game, just taking teams out over the top, it was unreal. Here's my other point on this. I disagree that everyone knew Mahomes was elite, because the Cleveland Browns, up until Baker Mayfield, had been searching for a damn franchise quarterback for decades. And they let him go at number 1. How about the Chicago Bears? They picked Mitchell Trubisky.
They traded up to take Mitchell Trubisky.
And by the way, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes is not elite, Vincent. All I'm saying is that they're clearly, this is why I don't like these draft conversations from this perspective of, these teams know. Like, this is why I laugh at Bengals fans all the time. They always tell me to relax, that the Bengals know what they're doing. Stop. They don't know. No, to be fair, I don't think a lot of these teams do know what they're doing. I don't like when we do the draft talk of, man, they made a mistake drafting him. You can't say that a team made a mistake drafting somebody that they felt they did all their research and did their homework on. It may not work out. I always say this in college sports. The Archie Miller hiring at Indiana, that was not a bad hire. That was a great hire. It didn't work out. Right. It wasn't a mistake. Indiana might have buyer's remorse 4 years later, but they felt like they were on top of the world when they signed him, and as they should. Just like when the Bears got Mitchell Trubisky, they felt like, we're the smartest team in the room. We saw something no one else did. But the bottom line is elite quarterback talent. You had 9-10 teams, like, for sure, locked down, no questions about it. 10 teams don't overlook a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes. So that's what I'm saying with this Justin Fields situation. He has all the talent in the world, just like Patrick Mahomes did. And if Justin Fields goes to the Jets, I'm not going to sit there and say Justin Fields would be Rookie of the Year. But Justin Fields as the starter for this 49ers team, I think you're going to see a very similar growth to his game as what we did with Patrick Mahomes. And mainly because that's why I asked. I'm like, if you look at the draft order that year, and by the way, the Jets still don't have a quarterback. They've been looking for quarterbacks forever. They passed on Patrick Mahomes. The Titans, they have a good quarterback, but he's not great. They would have look at all. I mean, Jacksonville. I mean, San Francisco at the time passed on Patrick Mahomes. The Chargers, and they had a quarterback at the time, so it's I understand why they passed up on him. Carolina, the Cincinnati picked John Ross that year. By the way, I'm just throwing that out there. You could have had Patrick Mahomes, and instead you ended up with John Ross. But it's besides the point. My point with all of this is that all of these teams, they thought they saw enough flaws in Patrick Mahomes' game to pass him up, just like all of these stupid teams now trying to think that they've seen enough flaws in Justin Fields' game to pass up. Justin Fields, if he goes number 3, he's winning Rookie of the Year, and he will lead his 49ers team to the playoffs. Now, you're going to say, well, it won't be him leading it. It's the defense. It's the weapon. Exactly. No quarterback leads anything by himself. So that's why if Patrick Mahomes goes to any team above where he went at number 10, he's not making $500 million. He's going to be talked about the way we talk about Burrow and Justin Herbert. Man, they showed promise. They look like really good young rookie quarterbacks. They're going to be good. That would have been the conversation about Patrick Mahomes, not man, in year 1 as a starter, he's the best quarterback in the league, MVP. In year 2, he's Super Bowl MVP. In year 3, he's in the Super Bowl. And if COVID and injuries don't decimate his offensive line, they probably are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. That's my point. So, Vincent, maybe Patrick Mahomes is probably a way better quarterback than Justin Fields in the NFL, but you don't have to be the greatest quarterback of all time to win Super Bowls in the NFL. Right. You need that defense. Garoppolo nearly won a damn defense. And by the way, Robert Miller, the Niners might pick Mac Jones. I do think Shanahan loves quarterbacks who overthrow receivers. I mean, I'm sure that Super Bowl flashback. I mean, I think Shanahan was in heaven today watching Mac Jones overthrow all his open receivers in a damn pro day. I mean, he was having flashbacks to that dang Super Bowl, right? So that's all I'm trying to say is if Garoppolo could nearly win a Super Bowl with the Niners, I know that Justin Fields can win a Super Bowl with the 49ers. And I'm not a homer. Not even close. Definitely not even close. So there's that. Your closing thoughts on that?
No, man. I just think that people just watch way too much ESPN and get blown away from what these guys say. And then they try to come on here and regurgitate what they heard on ESPN and use all these cool lingo words. You don't have to do that, man. It's a phrase that was popular back when I was in high school. You ain't got the lot to kick it. Just come with your takes. Don't come with somebody else's takes. Come with how you are. Come how you are. And that's how I try to approach this show. I don't try to put on a front about things. We're going to talk about a little bit of college basketball later on in the show. And I'm going to keep it as real as I can. Just keep it real, man. Like, come on, man. People are lying when they say, like, oh, man, I watched a ton of Patrick Mahomes. You're not watching Texas Tech football unless you're a loser like me. And I don't think people are losers like me.
And what we did with Patrick Mahomes is, well, his numbers were inflated because the Big 12 doesn't play defense. That's why people bat, Baker Mayfield. When that list came out a few weeks ago that we dissected about who was the best college football quarterback of all time, or at least in the last 20 years, Baker Mayfield was named the number one college football quarterback of the last 20 years. People lost their minds. For one, people hate Baker Mayfield. That's not a Browns or an Oklahoma fan, but they lost their minds because what do? Well, of course his stats are better than everybody's. He played in the Big 12. That's the trap that everyone fell into with Patrick Mahomes coming out of the draft. That's all. And every conference and every type of quarterback has a narrative that we use every year. African-American quarterbacks that run a lot. Well, they're running quarterback. The running quarterback thing doesn't work.
Wide receiver, man.
Lamar Jackson, if these same scouts that are trying to tell you how great these guys are, if the scouts had it their way, Lamar Jackson would be a wide receiver, which coincidentally enough, he really does need a wide receiver right now. Maybe he could throw to himself, right?
Fast enough to do it.
It's unbelievable. When it comes to this, big picture. But for Big 12, if you're good in the Big 12, it's because they don't play defense.
Right.
If you're good in the SEC, it's because, the SEC's defense, they don't play as well, but the offenses are so good in the SEC that it just comes easy. If you are a Buckeye quarterback, you guys are lazy with that, by the way. You Buckeye haters, you're lazy because you literally just stick to, well, I know Justin Fields is good, but let's be honest, no Buckeye quarterback has ever made it in the NFL. Stop. That's lazy. That's late. I have not heard. I mean, outside of, we had Waller say, he didn't like his arm strength. Joe Burrow doesn't have good arm strength, and he threw for over 300 yards in his minimal games that he played last year as a rookie. Like, there's many ways to win in the NFL. That's what we've seen the game evolve over the years. Forget white quarterback, Asian, black, blue, it doesn't matter. But the running style quarterback has definitely taken off in the NFL right now. So to act like Justin Fields 4.4, I keep seeing people say, well, I don't really care about how fast he is. I need him to be a quarterback. That's fine, but the speed and the ability to run and make plays with your legs, all of that
especially
matters.
If you're working in that San Francisco 49ers system, that Shanahan system, that bootleg, that stretch play and everything like that, it requires the quarterback to get out on the edge and get those hips turned around fast, to check down to the fullback, because 49ers, they still use a fullback, and to the tight end and everything like that. They require their quarterbacks to move. That's why the best years of Robert Griffin III were under Shanahan. And look at the best years under Kirk Cousins. They were under Shanahan. And, I may not be the biggest Kirk Cousins fan in the world, but he's athletic enough to get out on the edge and make throws on the move. So that's something that, I believe that they're looking at for Justin Fields. Like, look, man, he can get out on the edge and cut the field in half.
And Shanahan would love that. In fact, one of Shanahan, his dad, when he was with Washington, one of the I was reading a tweet one of the interesting things about that is one of his most successful seasons in Washington was when he had RG3 as a rookie, when RG3's Rookie of the Year campaign was because of the ability to make plays with his legs. That injury, he was never the same after that. That's what's concerning about the mobile quarterback. But that's why it's important to have an offensive line. And that's why it's important to protect your quarterback. I mean, that's why Lamar Jackson, yes, he makes plays with his legs. I don't like how much they rely on his legs. I wish that teams would use the legs of quarterbacks as like a cherry on top and still try to, protect him. But, I feel like the Ravens are running him into the ground. And I feel like once the Ravens run Lamar into the ground and his career's over because of an injury, then they'll just say, well, we try to maximize it as much as we could. The Panthers maximized Cam Newton as much as they could. Washington, it was only 1 year, but they maximized RG3 as much as they could. The Eagles got Vic kind of 1.5, not 2.0, but Vic 1.5, when they got him. But, the Falcons ran him into a lot of teams run their running quarterbacks into the ground, and they try to win in the now, knowing that, hey, I can't build long-term. That's why I cannot wait for this Lamar Jackson contract negotiation to come up, because both sides are going to be right. You don't throw good enough for me to give you the same money as Patrick Mahomes, but that's why I told you a while back, if I'm Lamar Jackson, well, let's see. You guys brag all the time how we're the number one rushing team in the AFC all the time, but if you take my rushing stats out, we actually don't have that great a running back, so I think you need to pay me as the running back and the quarterback. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm playing that card. If they want to nitpick and say, well, you can't throw, so we're not going to pay you as much, well, I can run, so the money that you're saving on a running back because I'm carrying that low too, why don't you give me that money and we'll just call it a day, right? Like, that's really how I would approach that. So
franchise tag twice. He's going to be franchise tag twice, because that thing is not going to be that's not going to end pretty.
Nope, it's not. It is not. But all hail the franchise tag. There you go. All right, folks. It's
especially with Dak's big contract and Patrick's big contract.
Speaking of,
he's probably going to get like $45 million.
Hot take. Speaking of hot takes, today I have one for you coming up. Bengals fans, brace yourselves. This is the I Hate the Bengals show, weekdays from 3 to 6. At least that's how this is being perceived. It was an interesting. The Bengals have a quarterback, right? Right, Kev? They have a quarterback?
I'm sorry.
The Bengals have a quarterback,
absolutely.
Right? So why would your offensive coordinator and your quarterback's coach be checking out Kellen Mond today?
Oh, goodness.
Why?
Oh, we want to answer now, or are we going to break?
No, I want to obnoxiously ask the why. Why? Like a 4-year-old. And we'll answer that why on the other side. Why in the blue hell are the Bengals looking at Kellen Mond? And for people out there that are trying to talk to me like I'm dumb, yes, but I'm not dumb on this. Oh my God, Justin, they're there at Texas A&M's Pro Day. First of all, when you have Alabama and Ohio State having a Pro Day and you're at Texas A&M's, that's typical Bengals. But second of all, you don't send your offensive coordinator and your quarterback's coach to go watch their star defensive players at Texas A&M, but you do send them to go look at the quarterback, and that's exactly what the reports are stating. I'll be back in a moment. More of the I Hate the Bengals show. When we come back, don't go anywhere. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. And don't say backup quarterback, people. I already see it in the chat section. If you think they're going for a backup quarterback, then they're a dumber franchise than I give them credit for. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Guys, we need to clear a path here.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can stall your business.
Tonight, John.
Like at Chris's Logistics Company. To avoid things grinding to a halt, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Daisy sheds like crazy. Our hairballs have hairballs. Marquette Mama, she has dandruff and an oily coat. DINOVITE.com. I was thrilled when I heard Dynovite for Cats was coming out. If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them. Dynovite is a life changer. Lately, she's been a lot more playful, a lot more energetic, more active.
Dynovite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber,
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber. Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's. Today's topic, Easter. I'm ready to break out the bunny decor. Same. Kohl's has so many cute things. You can decorate pretty much everything, even Easter eggs. My family will be so excited. I got great gifts for my favorite Peeps, too. Ooh, love Peeps. Plus, I got Kohl's Cash and 15% off. I'm sold. One more thing. Get it in 1 hour or less with free store pickup. I'm gonna hop to it. 15% offer ends April 3rd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details. My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Millions of Americans have been affected by identity theft. Get LifeLock today and save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code RISK.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Fumble! It's okay. These work one day, off the next because of the Reds. I get it. Back in the swing of things. I don't know what we're going to do for another whole 2 hours, but this first hour flew by, I tell you what. So I found this interesting earlier today, and, any chance I get to take a shot at the Bengals, I will. Apparently, that's what I've been told. But, I am critical. I'm critical of every team, but that's the thing, though. Like, Bengals fans don't hear when I criticize the Browns. They only hear when I criticize their team. Buckeye fans don't hear when I criticize other teams and praise them. They only hear when I criticize them. Like, that's just how this works. We all want to hear what we want to hear to make us all feel safe and warm inside, because we're all soft human beings who don't know how to live in a world where people tell us things we don't like. And if they do, then we got to tell them that they're horrible at their job. So here we are. Jim Nagy earlier today said that, here's a list of teams with offensive coordinators and or quarterback coaches in attendance at Texas A&M's Pro Day to watch Kellen Mond. Not just in attendance at their Pro Day, in attendance at Texas A&M to watch Kellen Mond, who's a solid quarterback, by the way. I don't feel one way or another about him, but I think that he's going to be that third-tier quarterback in the draft that I think that I promise you, the day after the draft, or the day, I should say, once the drafts all wrap up, we've talked so much about these typical five, the Trey Lance, the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields, the Wilson kid from BYU, Mac Jones. We're going to be so exhausted talking about them that we're going to transition to, who's that quarterback that we're just not talking about that's going to be the Russell Wilson, that's going to be the typical quarterback that always ends, who's going to be the Lamar Jackson, the guy that, we were focusing on these guys the whole build up to the draft, that this guy over here is just quietly just kicking ass and making some big bucks moving forward, right? Yep. So that's I think that could be Kellen Mond when it's all said and done. Now, with that being said, so I have no problem. Of course, you should do your due diligence and attend this if you don't have a quarterback. And you may have a quarterback and you may be thinking about the future, and it's probably good to go check it out. If you can get Kellen Mond in the second or third round, okay, more power to you. It's a good backup quarterback to have, but not when you just drafted a quarterback number one overall last year. Not when you are an organization that literally had over $40 million in cap space and you've only spent like $6 or $7 million on an offensive lineman for 1 year. So you technically have not addressed anything on your offensive line. Adding one piece is not addressing anything. That's just acknowledging its existence, but you're really not giving it the attention that it truly deserves. So it's frustrating. So here's the list of teams who are in attendance at Kellen Mond's, not Texas A&M's Pro Day, Kellen Mond's Pro Day. The Steelers, rightfully so. By the way, they have their picks are so far back that they have to rely on striking gold with one of these. And in typical Steelers fashion, it'll piss me off. They probably will strike gold with Kellen Mond, and it'll tick me off. But so the Steelers, I have no problem with that. Of course, they're going to be there. The Panthers, obviously, there's, talks of them on Mac Jones and, Trey Lance and some others if they could position it right. Okay, that makes sense. The Bears, their quarterback disaster right there. Okay, I get it. The Vikings, yes, you have Kirk Cousins, but eventually you got to stop overpaying the guy, right? Like, I think there's other quarterbacks who can just get you to a wild card playoff loss. There's a lot of quarterbacks who could, hell, you might as well sign Andy Dalton for the $5 million he got as opposed to the $20 or $30 million that you're paying Kirk Cousins. But then there's two teams that I found interesting here. One's the Dallas Cowboys and one's the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, people are like, well, you're not criticizing the Dallas Cowboys because that's your other team. Actually, the Cowboys being there makes a lot of sense because of the criticism I've given to them. Dak Prescott won. He earned his money, by the way. He earned his money. But he earned the money in the negotiation process. The Cowboys did not want to give him that money. Jerry Jones snickers as he gives him this money. Yes, I said Snickers, like he snickers and gives him the money. I do believe Dak Prescott will not be a Dallas Cowboy in the next 2 years. I do believe that the Dallas Cowboys will trade him when the time is right. There is not a no trade clause in his contract. That's the one thing Jerry Jones would not budge on. And when I heard that today, that's exactly where my mind went is, oh, they're going to trade him. The second, because for one, financially, they couldn't afford to just let him go this year because you have no other options. So financially, they still would have owed him X amount of dollars for, I forgot the injury. That I don't remember all the legalities of it. But the bottom line is they had no choice but to sign him, give him that max deal. Here's why they didn't want to give him that max deal. And I think that if the Dallas Cowboys draft Kellen Mond and it works out, Jerry Jones is looking for that very first cheap option that'll give him the out to trade Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott will not be a Dallas Cowboy in at least 2 years. At least a year. I wouldn't surprise me if a year from now, in the offseason, if we're not talking about Dak Prescott being moved from the Cowboys, but I do guarantee in the next 2 years, 3 years from now, Kev, he will not be a Dallas Cowboy. 2 years from now, he will not be a Dallas Cowboy.
Make up your mind. Which one, 2 or 3?
In the next 2 for sure. I wouldn't be surprised, though, in the next year. Jerry Jones, you know this, though. I'm not trying to stir the pot. Jerry Jones didn't want to give him that money. He had no choice. Jerry Jones knows that, hey, Russell Wilson, teams are willing to give up a crap ton to get him, and look at the contract he has. All right? People are willing to move Deshaun Watson. Look at the mess, and I'm not talking about the legal mess he's in. Look at that contract. Teams have been lining up left and right to try to get him. So the contract of signing him to big money is not going to scare teams away. If teams want him, they're going to come get him. He will move on from him. So him checking out Kellen Mond, he needs a reason to move on from him, though. Kellen Mond could be that reason. So for all you Bengals fans out there that thought you caught me, my favorite is the sports radio host psychologist out there who always trying to read my mind. It's a scary place. You don't want to be in there. But they're always trying to tell radio hosts he's just stirring the pot. Folks, if you know anyone that knows me, trust me, I have these same opinions off the air as I do on the air. I don't have these opinions to piss you off. I'm a naturally aggravating person. People just naturally don't like me. So none of this is to stir the pot. It's truly what I feel. And so here we are. So the Cowboys, I have no problem being there because I think if Kellen Mond hits and it works and he slaps and it's great, Dallas Cowboys, we got our quarterback. We have him on a rookie deal and an even cheaper rookie deal because we're going to select him in the second or third round. Bye-bye, Dak Prescott. The Cowboys spend a bunch of money, fill all the rest of the holes over the next year or two, and boom, they're right back to business. They're in business now, technically. No, again, you're not going to catch me on being hypocritical here. The Cowboys have a plan, and that's what I think. The Bengals, though, what in the world? Why are you here? You've been lazy as hell in the offseason, replacing holes that you created. I do not believe that you are better than a year ago. I'm not going to play the same old song and dance as I have in the previous weeks, but I just wanted to make sure I got that out there one more time. You have promised, after neglecting to fix this offensive line, Reef does not fix this offensive line. You don't have the second worst offensive line in football. Add one player to it and then try to tell everyone, see, we protected Joe Burrow. Give me a break. I don't know if this is it or not, Kevin, but maybe those offensive coordinators and the coach that went to watch Kellen Mond today is like, well, we got to be keeping an eye out on the quarterback market because clearly our front office doesn't value protecting Joe Burrow. So we need our quarterback of the future, right? I have no clue. You're not going to waste a second-round pick on a backup quarterback. You just signed Brandon Allen back on March 5th to be the backup. Why do you need Kellen Mond? And you're probably saying, well, what's the big deal? They're just there checking him out. You only have a month to the damn draft. You have a lot of holes to still fill. Now, you filled some gaps on the defense, but the most important was that GD offensive line that you've yet to freaking touch, and yet all you've done is tell your stupid fans who believe everything that you say that you're going to address the offensive line in the draft. Well, Kellen Mond, let's get this clear, folks, is going in the second or third round. That's where the Bengals have to address their offensive line because they're too stupid to take Penei Sewell in the first round. They're going to take a damn receiver, all right? This is ridiculous. So you're looking at a guy that you know you're going to only select in the second round, so that means you're going to take what? Pitts in the first round or Chase in the first round, and then take Kellen Mond in the second round and then address your offense because everyone's like, it's a deep draft. You can get to offensive linemen later in the draft. Yeah, but the actual good players go earlier in the draft. It's not that I don't get it. This is just silly to me. It makes absolutely zero sense. And Bengals fans defending this, I don't understand. Well, what are you wasting your time? Time is money, and you're wasting time on days that the Buckeyes and Alabama and these great are having a pro. You're in Texas A&M's not a slouch. I mean, mainly because of Jimbo. But what are you doing? Why are you wasting time looking at a position you don't need? You signed Brandon Allen to a backup deal back on March 5th. What are you doing looking at Kellen Mond? You have Joe Burrow, right? I mean, right? I don't get what's going on here. It makes zero sense. I don't care if I'm labeled as a Bengals hater. That's on you guys for being you. I mean, you are very close to being cult-like, to where no matter what that crap organization tells you, you just say, "Oh, aren't they great? Oh man, they have our best interest at heart. They just keep telling us to trust the process." And then 10 years later, you're talking about your next franchise quarterback that you're going to draft with the number 1 overall pick because you're still crap. What are you doing at Kellen Monds Pro-Day? Is that the music to go? We got guys on hold, but I'm curious. I got to get out of here. We'll be back. Top of the hour. I'll pick up with your phone calls and reaction on Facebook. I keep saying get the blood pressure pills lining up and down here in the chat section.
Everybody put pill emojis in the comments.
It is. Facebook. It's filled up with pill emojis. There you go. We'll be back in a moment. You've heard my take, as crazy as it is, I'm sure. Let's hear yours. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
Spring forward at Banana Republic Factory with 50 to 70% off everything. Shop season favorites from colorful dresses to easy tops from $19.99. Find your nearest store or shop online only at Banana Republic Factory. Enjoy 50 to 70% off almost everything at Gap Factory and gapfactory.com. Shop tees from $6.99 and joggers from $24.99. Plus extra 15% off online. Exclusions apply. Shop the sale through April 6th.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Who hasn't been wronged by bad breakfast? Ditch the stale breakfast sandwiches and get tasty made-to-order sandwiches like the Breakfast Baconator and the Honey Butter Chicken Biscuit, only at participating Wendy's.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, we are back. That was a quick break. That was a pointless break, by the way. I mean, I haven't even had time to.
It's definitely not pointless. It's definitely not pointless.
Well, it's not pointless because you got to. I mean, absolutely, that's how we stay working here. But Keith Tolliver on Facebook says you're spot on, Justin. Typical Bengals. David Shaw says, with that being said, I agree with you, Justin, and him and I don't agree on a whole hell of a lot.
Wow.
So, Scott Whetstone on, that's a hell of a name, by the way. Scott on Facebook, Kev, he says the Bengals have more boobs than Dolly's trailer. Interesting. Interesting. Jake Whiting says, he says, sounds like the Browns fans for the last 10 years. Oh, Browns fans, we're horrible. We're obnoxious. I get it. The Browns fans believed that next year was always going to be the year. And then when the year became actually the year that they start winning and actually get to the play, it was like, oh my gosh. So when that time comes for the Bengals, it's going to be special. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And when they become good and when they win games and when they make the playoffs, you're not going to hear me bitch as much. It's really that simple. I'm not like trying to convince you that the Buccaneers are a bad team here. I'm trying to convince you that a last place team is bad. I'm not doing some kind of like weird witchy voodoo stuff here. It's really not that. I mean, I'm just amazed that, man, all you do is criticize the Bengals. Give me something to be positive about. But in all seriousness, for those who are just tuning in, I'll say it with less of a dramatic tone here. I do find it weird that the Bengals' number one priority now in the draft, because I don't think they struck out Kevin free agency. I just don't think they ever had the intentions of spending a lot of money on the offensive line. That's a whole other day's worth of yelling that I can get into of how stupid I think it is. But no matter my opinion on it, it's not going to change that their strategy is that they don't value the dollars that they do not value that position when it comes to the dollars that they spend. The Bengals are not a cheap organization. I really don't believe they're cheap. I think they're stubborn and they're stuck in their ways. They're not cheap. They're willing to pay They pay good money for defensive guys. Like they have no problem putting. They saw that the 5 straight trips to the playoffs in the early 2010, all of that was because of that defense. And I think that's what they're kind of relying on now, is hoping that, okay, we're going to have flaws on the offensive side, but we saw that we had flaws offensively back in 2010 through 15, but our defense is what got us there every single year. Won a division. Andy Dalton wasn't terrible for, obviously. And they didn't value the offensive line. The offensive line was good, but it started getting worse because they didn't value it in retaining guys, or when they lost guys, they didn't want to replace them with other free agents. They just let guys go and then, we'll just fill it with the draft. And then bad draft pick after bad draft pick, which, by the way, you want me to buy into, there's good offensive linemen in this draft in the second and third round, but keep in mind, Billy Price was a good first-round pick. No one ripped the Bengals. Everyone praised them for that pick. That was a good pick. It addressed a need. One of the best linemen that was graded that year. It just didn't. It was a whiff not because it was a bad pick. Like, I think the Bengals will make good picks offensive lineman-wise, but I have no faith that they're going to develop them. Well, why do you say that? History, recent history was the most important history, by the way, right. Because that's what I've been told. So if you have not spent the money on offensive line, you obviously are going to attack that in the draft, and it's a deep draft for offensive linemen, which, by the way, just drafting him doesn't make you better, because we've seen the Bengals totally ruin good offensive linemen coming out of college in recent years. So, but you're running out of time. You should be going and looking at all these offensive linemen as much as possible. You should be checking out these pro days. You should be checking out Bama's pro day, Ohio State's pro day, and you're watching Kellen Mond to fill a backup quarterback position. Kev, I can't. You can't fix stupid. I can't. I've said it calmer this segment than I did last. I'm trying not to yell, but I think even Bengals fans, you have to agree with me here. Don't you see how silly that is? Time is money. There's no combine this year. So because of that, these pro days became even more important. So because of that, I think it's very important that you attend these pro days that actually are going to address holes, not just any holes, because maybe backup quarterback is a concern of theirs, but I don't care who you know why you don't need to worry about your backup. You know who are teams that worry about backup quarterback? Teams with bad offensive lines. You know how you stop panicking about your backup quarterback is when you have an offensive line to protect your quarterback. If they spent as much time trying to find a good offensive lineman as they did trying to find a damn backup quarterback. Kellen Mond's going in the second round. What are you at his pro day for? You're not selecting him with the second pick, are you? That wouldn't make any sense, but it is the Bengals.
So a couple things. One, like all Bengals fans should be saying right now, what are you doing there? And I'll answer that for him. They have to be there because you have to look at everything. If they've been doing what they're supposed to be doing, they know all about the Ohio State guys, not just Justin Fields, but all the guys that he's throwing the ball to, all the guys that's blocking. They know all that stuff because these are the high-profile guys. And I mean, for goodness sakes, Columbus, Cincinnati, it's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive away. Same thing about Alabama. All these things are known commodities. It's not just Kellen Mond's pro day. He's got to be throwing the ball to somebody. He's not out there throwing the air, just throwing it to trash cans. Somebody is running these routes. So you got to be looking at those guys too. And I know the headline is Kellen Mond's pro day, but it is Texas A&M's pro day. There's other guys there that are going to be checking out. I have no big problem with them being down there, especially because Pittsburgh Steelers are there. You have to, what if the Pittsburgh Steelers actually do pull the trigger and draft Kellen Mond? And Kellen Mond is their quarterback of the future and everything like that. You have tape on him. Not just the tape that, the all 22, but you got tape of your own. You don't have the Patriots sneak tape. You got tape that you can actually use to your benefit in case they do that. So I have no problem with the Cincinnati Bengals being there instead of the Ohio State Pro Day or the Bama Pro Day, because I think Alabama's having like 2 more Pro Days, if I'm not mistaken. They've already had like 3, I think. Like they got so many guys apparently that they need to have multiple Pro Days, so they can go to the next one. I don't think that is the biggest deal as you're making it out to be. We got Charlie on the line. He wants a piece of you, by the way.
Oh, well. All right. 457-9464. Let's go to the phones. We got Charlie. Charlie, how are you, sir?
Oh, Charlie, you didn't last.
Is the phone button on?
I think so. Yeah.
It's potted up?
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling.
Oh, well, great. Add that to the list of things that aren't working. So the phones aren't working. That's super. That's awesome. We'll get that addressed during the next commercial break. But it is what it is. But a lot of interesting things, man. How about last week, again, as we close out this part of the NFL conversation? We'll switch gears here in a moment. But the Niners trading up just totally rocked the entire NFL. And I said this last week. I actually thought that the Niners going and trading up to number 3, I kept seeing a lot of people say, "Oh man, that helps the Bengals." So like it really does help them. And honestly, I think it hurts them. I think that sometimes when you have too many options, I think that hurts you. And because for instance, I do believe that the Dolphins were going to select Penei Sewell if they stayed at number 3. If the Miami Dolphins would have stayed at number 3, they would have selected Penei Sewell. And then once Penei Sewell's off the board, now it becomes easier for the Bengals to select between Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase, because they can always fall back on the fact that, hey, you know what? We wanted Sewell, but he's already been selected, so we took the next best, weapon there, which I would have been all for. I think your mic's off, but I would have been all for. But the problem now is that with the Dolphins moving back, Sewell is going to be there at 5, unless the Jets just totally surprise you and take him. I don't think that's going to be the case, though, because, man, did you see Wilson throw in his shirt against nobody? I mean, man, how could you not pick that? But no, so because Sewell is going to be there now, when everyone knows what happened to Joe Burrow last year, when everyone knows that this team desperately needs an offensive lineman and he is the best offensive line prospect out there, how could you pass up on him? So now I think this makes it more. I don't think that the Bengals won. I saw the Sports Illustrated, James Rapine, who we have on the show, he put out an article saying that this was the best case scenario for the Bengals. I said, look, I disagree, man. I think it makes it harder. I think it makes it more difficult, because now
they have to make a choice.
Yeah, now you have to make a choice. And by the way, I'm not saying that Pitts or Chase is a bad selection. They are going to make an immediate impact, but that's not where you desperately need help at right now. You are not a pick or 2 away from becoming a Super Bowl contender, so you need to make sure that you are prioritizing what holes you are fixing at certain points throughout the offseason. So by selecting Chase or selecting Pitts over Sewell, I think that is absolutely ridiculous. But if you would have selected either of those 2 with Sewell off the board, I think now it's just saying, oh, well, the Bengals, they really intended on fixing that offensive line with Sewell, but he wasn't there, so they went for the next best thing, which is, Pitt's the best tight end in this draft, or Chase, arguably the best receiver in this draft. Now, if you pick Pitts or Chase over Sewell, Kev, that is not a good look. And especially this, like, for instance, so on draft night, when you hear the chime and with the 5th pick, you got it all lined up. With the 5th pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Clowns or the Cincinnati Bengals select Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida, or Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. And still on the board is obviously Sewell. That's where I'm concerned about the Bengals moving forward, because that night everyone's going to go crazy and think, man, can you imagine how good Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to be together? And then you're going to see the stupid highlight film from, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase tearing it up on the field at LSU. And everyone's like, man, they're going to bring that here. Joe Burrow had an offensive line at LSU. Joe Burrow had all the time in the world to throw at LSU. Jamar Chase was wide open every time down the field. It's not going to be as smooth of a transition as what people think to the pro game. So I just think that and I've used this example before, when you look at the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, $500 million deal. He earned every dollar of it. MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champ. He's had it all. But when his offensive line got taken away, you want to talk about Pitts being the best tight end in this draft. You look at Pitts, or you look at the Chiefs, they have Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the NFL now. You had him, and he didn't make Patrick Mahomes look any better in the Super Bowl. You know why Patrick Mahomes looked very pedestrian? Because that offensive line was destroyed. Patrick Mahomes even looks human when he doesn't have an offensive line. So drafting Jamar Chase, drafting Kyle Pitts with the bad offensive line, I don't care if you put Patrick Mahomes behind that offensive line for the Bengals, you're not winning football games that way. So that's my biggest concern. So I disagree in a non-hateful way that I do not believe the Dolphins trading back helped the Bengals. I truly believe it hurt them, because now the Bengals are being forced to pick a skill position player over an offensive lineman that they're going to pick a skill position player that they really, really want versus the position that they really, really need. And I think that's going to be damning. Especially, can you imagine if Joe Burrow gets hurt again next year, Kev? Like, not
ideal.
He can get hurt. Like, let's say they would have went out and they would have got Tooney and they got Zeitler and they drafted Sewell. Now they just have this, talent galore at offensive line. And now they have one of the best offensive lines in football. And then Joe Burrow gets hurt. That's just a freak football play, unfortunately. That's just football. But I promise you, when Joe Burrow gets hurt again, and it will happen with this line, because, Kev, he got hit the 3rd most times in the NFL last year. He didn't play the last 2 months of the season. He didn't. By the way, today was announced 17 regular season games. Now that's an entire extra game of hits for Joe Burrow to worry about. That's an entire extra game of a bad offensive line leaving him exposed. That's my concern about all of this. Joe Burrow, if he gets hurt again next year, because, well, hey, we got Hendrickson at least. Hey, we got Hilton from the Steelers. Hey, well, go Bengals. Who day? Blah blah blah. Who day? Who day? That. You know who they are? They're the team picking in the top 5 in the draft again next year because they refuse to address their actual need. Bottom line. Who we got, Kev?
We got Rick.
Rick, how are you, sir? Kev, is the phone like in program 1? Is it all like you know what you're doing? I'm just throwing out suggestions.
Yeah, it's not popping.
All right. We're sorry about that. We're going to get these phones fixed, and then we'll get that, we'll get back to your take. But head to Facebook if you want to jump in on the conversation.
That's what a party is.
That's where, yeah, exactly. But where are we at with this, too? I'm trying to catch up on these. I'm going to pick out the good ones here in a little bit. Ron Broadstock says, I agree with what Lapham said. Are we sure Sewell is deserving of all the hype? You guys are so funny. You guys yes, you guys are trying to convince yourself that the pretty girl is not pretty. You're trying to convince me that, the hot girl has a lazy eye when you look at her long enough. You're trying to convince me that the hot girl has a stutter sometimes. You're trying to convince me that the hot girl, everyone knows the girl's hot, just go out with her. But to put a ring on that finger. Oh, but her credit score's better. You need the credit score. But, nonetheless.
This is the thing, man. People get so enamored from the guys that make the plays who catch the ball, score the touchdowns. We constantly forget about the guys that make these plays happen. You can't make these deep throws. You don't have Tom Brady to Randy Moss for an 80-yard bomb without the guys up front blocking. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to forget about the big guys up front. We talk about the big guys up front on defense like the Chase Youngs because they get after the quarterback. The guys up front, the center, the guards, the tackles, they are just as important to the team as everybody else, but they don't score touchdowns. That's why it's always cool when, you have the tackle eligible play and they score a touchdown. Everybody loses their mind. The offensive line is the most disrespected guys on the field. When the offensive line is good, nobody cares. Nobody even thinks about them. But when they're bad, everybody knows about them. And it's for some strange reason, the Cincinnati Bengals fan base is forgetting how important the offensive line is. We saw this happen in the Super Bowl, like you said, with the best quarterback in the league. When his 2 offensive tackles were hurt and not able to play, they basically had to play, walk-ons, practice players. He was under duress. That's not good.
Nope.
So what you want to do, you want to constantly upgrade that position. I'm not saying that if they draft Kyle Pitts, that's a dumb move. All I'm saying is, hey, stop disrespecting the big guys up front that make all this happen for the running backs, the quarterbacks, and the wide receivers and the tight ends, because without them blocking, you don't score touchdowns. Without the Dallas Cowboys offensive line from the 90s, Emmitt Smith is not the all-time leading rusher. Those guys are big-time keys to those teams. People are trying to treat them like punters or long snappers. This is the starting offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys had one of the best dynasties in the NFL's history in the 90s because of that offensive line. The Washington football team in the 80s, the Steelers in the 70s. The offensive line is the key to your team. So I'm not saying, hey, man, if they draft Pitts, they're dumb, I'm just saying, don't forget about your offensive line. The offensive line is the key to your team. So whatever y'all plan is, you need to do something, because let's be clear, man, I have no dog in this fight. My team is working on their offensive line right now in free agency. It's not the big high-priced ticketed guys, but they're doing something. So Bengals fans, you need to do something and quit worrying about, we need to score points. You can't score points without blocking up front.
And I agree with you 100%. And you should be a big Bengals fan right now, because they're what's keeping you from being last place in the AFC North.
I'm going to win this bet. I'm going to win this bet.
I mean, second place, first loser, third place, second loser, fourth place Bengals. I mean, it's all the same thing. But I agree. So Broadstock says, are we sure Sewell is deserving of the hype? Ron, let me answer your question with answering for every college prospect out there. Yeah. No college play. We don't know a thing about any of these college players and how they're. I mean, everything when we talk about Justin Fields and Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence, and we're talking about the quarterbacks, we have no clue if the quarterbacks are even going to hit. We just base it off of, for one, watching them. You could watch Penei Sewell and know that he's the real dang deal. But now you're trying to see, this is what we do, that we try to convince ourselves. We know Justin Fields is legit, but now I don't know, man, but he's really good. But remember that time that he had pressure in his face and he didn't look so good? Yeah. Did you watch the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes didn't look so good with pressure in his face either. Like, yeah, this is why as a team, when you draft a player, it's okay. What do we need to do? Oh, man, he doesn't play well with pressure in his face. Okay, so we need to make sure we draft guys that protect him so that he doesn't have pressure in his face. It's up to the teams to protect these players from their flaws. There's no such thing as a perfect player.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is not perfect. If he was, no, he wouldn't even need an offensive line. And I will give the Chiefs credit on this. Defending Super Bowl champions, they get to the Super Bowl, they lose. They have so much talent all over. They could say, we'll be fine. They just went and spent $18 million a year on a damn offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. The guy that the Bengals should have had, who desperately needed it. It just doesn't make, if the Super Bowl, if a team that's been to the Super Bowl 2 straight years in a row is spending heavy dollars on their offensive line, maybe Bengals fans, you should follow that. You should be paying attention.
And you have money to spend.
The Bengals did too. Oh, yeah.
So let's try Rick one more time before we go to break.
Hey, Rick.
Hopefully this works.
Rick, is this working? Can you hear me? Damn it. Strike. I mean, like the Bengals on offensive linemen. I'm trying and I'm swinging and missing every time.
Sorry, Rick. We're going to have to get the phones looked at.
Yeah. So a couple more of these reads and then off we go to take a little bit of a breather. Ron said that about Lapham. Jake Whiting, he gets all excited. And then Ron goes on to say, well, it's been a year off in Pac-12 teams. Trey Lance is going to get drafted, and he doesn't even play anywhere near the competition that any of these teams do. To me, it's about these scouts know what they're doing. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a fan base that's trying to – what you're doing is protecting yourself. What you are doing is rather than be shocked on draft night when they don't address the offensive line, what you are doing now is you're trying to convince yourself that all the hot girls are ugly so that when you go to the club and ask them out and they turn you down and say, man, she was fat anyways. Who cares? Man, her mom's crazy. I don't care. Man, she drinks too much. That's what you're doing. You are convincing yourself. You're trying to find, that girl has a big old mole. I mean, you're trying to convince yourself that you're trying to find a couple flaws on the hot girl so that when the hot girl turns you down, it's no big deal. I'm not out that. Like, that's exactly what you Bengals fans need help. I feel bad for you. It's okay to rip your team and say, we're a stupid team for not getting an offensive line. It really is okay to do that. It doesn't make you a hater. Like, that's the thing. You think that fandom is telling your team how great they are even when they're in last place for how many straight years now. That's not acceptable.
This goes back to fantasy football. We talk about the guys catching and running and scoring the touchdown because it's easy for us to comprehend. Like, oh, man, he had 100 catches. He had over 1,000 yards, had 10 touchdowns. He's good. You have something quantifying to say like he's good or not or whatever. We really don't have that for offensive linemen. Like, I know back in the days with Orlando Pace, Buckeyes started talking about pancake blocks and everything like that. They really never caught on outside of Orlando Pace. But, those are the things that you really have to rely on the Mel Kipers and the guys on ESPN kind of to tell you, because come on, man, we don't know nothing about offensive line play. Oh man, he's 6'6" and he's big. Can he move his feet? Like, we don't know that. We do have to rely on the people on ESPN to tell us these things. Like, we don't know this, but just to say like, oh man, is he being too hyped up? Why? Like, he won all the awards the last full season that he played at Oregon. I have no problem with him going this high in the draft.
He goes on to say too, where did that? He goes, I agree completely with how important it is. I like guys who did it in the Big Ten or the SEC. Well, Billy Price played in the Big Ten. Ron, Michael Jordan played in the Big Ten. And I need you to do me a favor, Ron. I need you to go to ESPN.com and look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. 2 of their offensive linemen are Division II college players. And the other one was an undrafted. I'm just saying, like, you don't need Big Ten. You just need good quality. You need to have a team that's capable of coaching up offensive line talent, and that is not the Bengals. Now, I know they have Pollock now, and everyone's going crazy about that. I see, Jake Whiting saying, well, they have Reif and they have Pollock. I don't care. You have the worst offensive line in football last year. You added one name, and now you're trying to convince me that Pollock is all of a sudden going to take the crap and turn it into flowers. Bill Callahan is clearly the best offensive line coach in football. But it's not because he takes crap and makes them good. It's because he knows how to coach good offensive line coaches, just like good head coaches. It's funny how good they look when they have talent. Pollock is going to look a lot better if you actually give him talent. If you give him the same offensive line as last year, what do you think is going to change? The scheme might change. He might change their hand placement here. What else can you do? They're bad. They're not good. They haven't been good for 5 years. You think all of a sudden this year they're just going to get it because you brought Pollock in and Reif, a longtime veteran that you signed for 1 year. I mean, don't you have to protect him long term? I'm just saying. People are like, man, all you do is talk about this. It's because they keep the conversation going. I give them what they want. Bunch of Bengals fans tuning in to argue with me about the Bengals. If they hate that I rip on the Bengals so much, stop talking about it. But I'm going as they go. All right, folks. Yeah, Ron Howard. See, he knows all about he's a big Buccaneers fan.
The champion.
Yeah.
The champ is here.
2 of the offensive linemen on the Buccaneers is their D2 prospects, and the other one was undrafted. And they added a rookie to that group last year in Wirfs. And was one of the best out there. But by the way, Callahan comes in. He didn't take the bad offensive line from 2 years ago. The Browns had to go and they added a lot of pieces to that offensive line, and boom, the Browns have the best run game in football. Baker Mayfield, has his best season ever as a Brown, and he's well on his way to getting paid big if he can repeat that performance behind that offensive line again. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 75. Tonight's going to be cloudy with showers, a low around 43. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. Tax season is here. We invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. Our professional staff assures your return is accurate with maximum use of legitimate deductions. Since our founding, we have been trusted because of our knowledge of the tax code and for standing behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
What's in store this week at your local Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has amazing prices on the furniture, supplies, and technology you need to upgrade your workspace.
And now at Staples, save $60 on Apple AirPods Pro.
Go wireless, be more productive, and save on Apple AirPods Pro. Now just $189, our lowest price ever.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples.
Ends 4/3/21. Limit to in-store only. Curbside available in most stores.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet?
Doctors of Podiatric Medicine are physicians. They set broken bones, perform wound care, treat corns, calluses, remove bunions, and can even perform total ankle replacements. Our physicians complete 3-year residencies in hospitals and train to manage your total foot and ankle health. Athletes with arch problems or tendon issues frequently seek out care from our physicians. Common health issues that podiatric physicians treat include ingrown or fungal nails, as well as warts and skin problems like athlete's foot. If you have ulcers or blisters, you should have that checked, and have your footwear checked too. Diabetics are especially prone to foot issues when they have neuropathy. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? Visit associationsadvanceohio.com to find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association to help you, so you know that you are being treated by the very best.
Need legal help? Come see us. The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts has partnered with organizations across the community to launch its new help center. Allow one of our dedicated staff the chance to inform you with legal information, self-help tools, forms, and guides, and referrals to social or legal professionals. We're here to help. Visit courthouse2u.com to learn more. Come down and see us. Brought to you by Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
Indeed believes less is more. That's why they have powerful tools to help you source, screen, and hire quality people faster. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
The madness is officially here. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. $100 in Frickers bucks to the overall winner. Plus, you could win $1 million by filling out the perfect bracket. Submit your Basketball Mayhem tournament bracket at wingam.com. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back, and I do think we got the phones fixed, by the way, so that's a good thing.
I hope so.
So Charlie, you talk smack, by the way. Where did he go on this Facebook post? There's something about, I can't find it. Dang it, there's too many. Oh, here he goes. Your phones suck, and so does Charlie, Bengals fan, says your phones suck, and so does Baker Mayfield. Hooday. So there you go. See, Bengals fans, you could tune into the show knowing I don't like the Bengals, but you can also tune in knowing that for whatever reason, a lot of Bengals fans listen to this show. Isn't it the weirdest thing? Like, Kev, I'm telling you, we have so many Bengals fans that listen to this show. I don't understand it. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, we as humans don't like to tune into things that bash what we like. It makes us uncomfortable. It makes us angry. We don't like these Bengals fans. They love punishment. Maybe it's because deep down they agree with me, and I think I know what it is. I think that Charlie, the Bengals fan, and I think all the Dean McDonald and these others on here. Shout out to all. And by the way, definitely love that you're listening. I don't want you to go anywhere, but I'm just saying, like I think deep down you guys agree with me. I think you tune in to me every day with the mindset of, man, he's saying what I wish we could say, but Mike Brown might take our fan card away. That's what I think is going on here. I think you guys are afraid to speak out
Charlie, I know you're not afraid.
No, Charlie, he shouldn't be afraid. He's never afraid to tell me what he thinks is right. He's usually wrong, but it's okay. We give him that opportunity to be wrong every day. Justin Nichols says, I'm not angry at all, with the little laughing emoji. Ron Moreland on Facebook says, I've been another Bengals fan, Kev. I've been a Bengals fan his whole life, and what you and Kev are saying is real and the truth. Well, thank you, Mr. Ron Moreland. I believe so too. So there's that. Where did this go? Someone just said, Dean McDonald says, Kenner, you just ratted yourself out. You don't need to take an offensive tackle in the first, because I was talking about the Buccaneers offensive line and how they have two guys on that offensive line that were Division II guys, and including an undrafted one. Last year they won a Super Bowl with adding a rookie into that mix as well. And he says, Justin, you just ratted yourself out. You don't need to take an offensive tackle in the first round, because I'm criticizing the Bengals if they take Pitts or Chase over him. He goes, you take the best player available and maybe you don't do the best player available when you are one of the worst teams available. When you're one of the worst teams out there, you don't get to do best player available mainly because, and let me reset this, okay? By the way, I normally would agree with that. I've actually liked the Bengals really turned into a playoff team in the early 2010s because they went with the best player available approach. There were sometimes they ignored need and went with the best player available. But some of the needs that they had, Kev, the most important thing is your offensive line. So I believe that if you have an offensive line, these are the two most important positions, Kev. Your entire offensive line and quarterback. If you have a quarterback and you have an offensive line, you may need a secondary guy. You may need a running back. You may need a receiver. You may need a safety. But if you have an offensive line and you have a quarterback, you then can have the best player available approach. But until you have a quarterback and until you have an offensive line, you are not good enough to have that luxury of best player available. When you don't know how to protect your asset being Joe Burrow, you don't deserve a Kyle Pitts. You don't deserve a Jamar Chase. What you deserve is to have your football team taken away, but that's not realistic. They need an offense. So if you have an offensive line and Joe Burrow's protected, and you have Joe Burrow, a quarterback, then you do the best player available. You may have one of the worst defenses in the league, but if Kyle Pitts is a generational tight end talent, then you take him. If Jamar Chase is a generational wide receiver talent, then you take him. But you don't do that when you have needed offensive line. And correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, I know that the Buccaneers have those D2 prospects. The Buccaneers, they actually, outside of, they had Jameis Winston. That was a good football team. People act like, they just, that Tom Brady led them the whole way, that they were horrible without Tom Brady and won it all with Tom Brady. They had a lot of pieces, but when your quarterback throws 30 interceptions, they're a good organization as far as, getting the pieces that they need, Kev. They had the offensive line. Like the Bucs, they had that taken care of. I trust the Buccaneers drafting offensive line better than the Bengals. So I get it. I get what you're saying. I am all for the Browns. They are in the luxury position here, Kev, of drafting best player available. They're set at wide receiver. They're set at running back. They're set at offensive line. They have their quarterback. Their biggest needs were their secondary, and they went out and got one of the best safeties in free agency, as well as one of the best secondary guys in free agency from the Rams. Now, when you take care of your work at home, then you get to go out and golf and have fun. The Bengals didn't take care of their work at home, so now they don't get to have fun and draft the fun players. You got to get the boring old dry offensive line. And you're probably saying, well, we draft an offensive lineman every year. Well, if you didn't suck so bad at it, then you wouldn't have to be picking one every year. Get it fixed. You should have went out and got Tooney. You should have got Zeitler, because then if you would have paid for those guys, then you could have drafted Pitts. Then you could have drafted Chase. Then you would have had the complete offensive package. And I would have said they're one more complimentary running back to Joe Mixon away from being a better offensive team than the Browns. But they're not even close now. So there's that.
Yeah, the offensive line is like vegetables. Like you gotta have
broccoli.
Yeah, I love broccoli, by the way.
I like asparagus too. I like asparagus.
I'm a vegetable guy, but these key pieces, like you talk about with the flashy offensive weapons, like a Pitts, that's all right. Dessert. You can do that when you have everything else taken care of, but you have to take care of the offensive line first. You got to eat your vegetables, and that's what your offensive line is. You don't have a good offensive line, you're not going nowhere. I don't care who's on your team. You can have Randy Moss. You can have Joe Montana. You can have Jerry Rice. If you ain't got nobody blocking up front, you're not winning no games.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I had nowhere in my notes did I have this long rant about the Bengals today, but the comments.
Yeah, you did.
No, I really didn't. No, I did not. First of all, let's be clear. I had this rant about. I came in fired up about Justin. It all started because of Justin Fields. I did not have anything Bengal related in my notes until I started getting Bengals chat headlines in the section there. So that's why I kind of moved it over a bit. But I'm starting to notice this, Kev. Like a year ago, man, that we're set for Penny Sewell. We're set Penny Sewell. And now when you're not going to get him, rather than be angry about it, now you're trying to fall in love with someone else. Like you keep pointing, well, how do we know that Penny Sewell's any good? Like isn't that hilarious? Isn't that funny? And by the way, the receiver, the Detroit Lions receiver that
Galladay.
The Giants, Galladay. Dude, the Bengals fans created this little hashtag, the Galladay, like the DUI, and they were so proud of it. Oh my gosh, it's trending. Okay, he's going to come here because we got his name to trend with the little who day at the end. I mean, come on, it's marketing brilliance.
That is pretty good.
But it was. But every Bengals fan, that's my point, though. Every Bengals fan was going nuts. They could have, man, Joe Burrow and Galladay, look out, AFC North. And then when he picked the Giants, then it was, I would have just spent money on him. He's crap. Galladay, I mean, forget him. Get him out of here. Like, I don't want him. That's what these fans do. It's like when we're talking about, like, and then Joe Tooney. I mean, that's all I heard all year. Joe Tooney this, Joe Tooney that. Man, he's going to go to Cincinnati. And he goes to the Chiefs. And what do we hear? Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm not going to spend that much money on him. If the teams that are winning Super Bowls are spending that much money on him, maybe you should spend that much money on him. What are you talking about? Who the hell are you to say that he's not a guy you should pay for? If the Kansas City Chiefs, a little mini dynasty right now, if they make it to the Super Bowl again next year, which they're favored to do so, that's a dynasty, folks. If a dynasty says there's value in Joe Tooney, maybe you should have as well. Like, that's all I'm trying to stop trying to, it's okay. Why do fans do that, Kev? I think it's because I come from a place that when my team ticks me off, I go off about it. And that's why Buckeye fans don't like me at times. Like when the Buckeyes play bad, I just call it how they just did not play good. I don't make excuses about COVID kept players out. Players are injured. They didn't have a full off season. It was startup, shut it down, no, if you're going to play on Saturdays, I'm going to react to what I saw on Saturdays. I'm not going to make excuses. If you're out on the field, you're competing, but I'm going to base my evaluation off of how you're competing that day. That's how I am. I am very critical of all my teams that I follow. All right. I'm loyal to the teams I follow, but I will call them out when I need to. I do that for the teams I like and don't like. Why do fans have to constantly do this thing where their team can do no wrong? The Bengals could be in last place for 10 straight years, and their fans are going to tell me that I'm wrong. Kev, they need offensive linemen, and I'm a hater because I'm saying that they're stupid for not drafting an offensive lineman. Like, I will never, ever be able to understand this. I don't get it. The Cleveland Browns are one of the worst organizations in football, but for whatever reason, man, they have just been swinging and hitting home runs for the last 2 years now. It's possible for a bad organization to get it, but you got to want to get it.
Right.
And I will give the Browns credit on this. When they got their quarterback, it kind of like, I hear this all the time. My friends, like, I don't have kids, but my friends you don't have kids. You and Shayla, you don't have kids. Okay, cool. We're being very personal on the show today. Who'd you vote for? No, I'm just we're just airing it all out today. I have a lot of
the vaccine.
So I have a lot of friends who, before they had kids, they were wild. They were crazy, man. Like, we all have friends like that. And then my friends now who are all having kids, they're getting more boring. They're disappointing me. They're becoming more responsible. They're you know what I mean? They're not as fun on the weekends. Oh man, I'd love to come out to the bar this weekend, man, but I can't, I got the baby, blah, 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 blah. I'm a loser. Okay. So what happens is when you finally get that baby, it changes your life. You right? Like, it changes who you are. Some people don't, but the good people do. The good people do. So when you get that baby, what do? You got to do everything you can to take care of that baby, right? You become more mature. You become an adult. That's what you're supposed to do. I'll give the Browns credit. When they had their baby, the Browns don't go out on the weekends anymore. All right, they're not getting drunk and doing body shots. They're not doing Jello shots. They're not playing beer pong. They're at home now on a quiet Saturday night, Netflix and chilling, making more babies. Okay, so when you get that baby, it changes your life. You would think that I thought that the moment that would change the Bengals organization would be getting their baby and Joe Burrow. It's a very weird comparison, but hear me out, right? When you have your first baby, it changes your life. Maybe one day that'll happen to me. I don't know. Until then, I'm going to keep drinking on the weekends. I'm going to keep being an immature a-hole that I am. So when the Browns, who are still a bad organization, okay, I don't care that they made the playoffs and beat the Steelers. They're still a bad organization. I need to see this over a long period of time before I'll take the Browns out of the embarrassing organization chart. That's where I have them right there with the Bengals, but that's besides the point. But like, they've had their baby. Now they're making some mature decisions. They're not going out on the weekends anymore. They're saving their money more. They're becoming more mature adults. And I thought that the Bengals, when they got Joe Burrow, that it would totally change their outlook on life. It would totally, hey, yeah, sure, living it up is fun. Going out on the weekends is fun. Drafting Pitts is fun. Drafting Jamar Chase is fun because that's fun. That's the sexy option. That's the cool option. That's the living the life option. Living the life is drafting Pitts. Living the life is drafting, obviously, Jamar Chase. But when you got a baby at home, you got to do what's best for that baby. You can't just go do things that don't make sense for that baby. You got to protect that baby. You got to protect Joe Burrow. You got to get him that offensive line. Penny Sewell's boring. I get it. I get that Kyle Pitts is tempting and Jamar Chase is tempting. You got to protect your quarterback because you added Reef for 1 year. I saw today, the guys that they're signing at offensive line, they're for 1 year, Kev. They're not long-term protecting their baby. So to sum up, when you have a baby, it changes your life. It totally changes your outlook on life. You mature. You stop going out on the weekends. I'm sure you would love to go out on the weekends, but you can't. You got to do what's best. The Browns matured, believe it or not. The Browns make all the right decisions. The Browns last year said, we're going to be bad defensively this year, but that's okay because we got to protect our baby. We got to get formula, right? We got to get good diapers, not the kinds that fall off and then create even more of a mess for us. Like the Bengals buy the cheap diapers that when the baby craps itself, then the diaper comes undone. Now you got to clean up way more of a mess than if you would have just put value into the diapers, right? If you would have put value into the offensive line, you wouldn't have to clean up the mess being Joe Burrow missing 6 games because he got beat up too much. All right. If you put value in the diapers, now you don't have to clean up all the crap that falls out because you got good quality diapers that stick together. The Bengals get the cheap Dollar Tree diapers.
I want all the Cleveland Browns fans to put poop emojis in the chat on Facebook, and I want all the Bengals fans to put pill emojis in the chat on Facebook.
Oh my gosh. So I just thought that the Bengals would have matured when they had their baby. That's all. I thought that they would have a different outlook on life, that they would have a different outlook on the players that they bring in, and they're just doing the same old things they did. Like, I'm just saying, child services is going to come and take Joe Burrow away.
If you're not a Cincinnati Bengal fan or a Browns fan, put baby emojis in the chat.
We got baby emojis. We got poop emojis. We got we got diapers. Anything you can. Put the emojis in the chat. We'll be back in a moment. Holy moly.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Spring forward at Banana Republic Factory with 50 to 70% off everything. Shop season favorites from colorful dresses to easy tops from $19.99. Find your nearest store or shop online only at Banana Republic Factory. Enjoy 50 to 70% off almost everything at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Shop tees from $6.99 and joggers from $24.99. Plus extra 15% off online. Exclusions apply. Shop the sale through April 6th.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Esther knows Easter, and it's hopping around the corner. Come on in to any of our locations to get your Easter favorites, like our variety of Easter baskets, all sizes of scrumptious cream-filled Easter eggs, caramel crosses, and many other novelty chocolates for everyone. Give us a call at any of our locations for our curbside service, or shop online at EstherPrice.com. But you'd better hurry to have it delivered by Easter.
There's a whole lot sweeter with fine chocolates from Esther Price.
Did you know you can get paid while enjoying the great outdoors? Grunder Landscaping Company, an industry leader, is currently offering full-time year-round positions. Grunder Landscaping provides competitive wages, a robust benefit package, free uniforms, paid certifications and training, career growth, and a $2,000 signing bonus. Apply online at grunderlandscaping.com or visit in person on Fridays between 12 and 4 at 1900 Old Byers Road in Miamisburg. Bring a friend to be eligible for a $1,000 referral bonus.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine are physicians. They set broken bones, perform wound care, treat corns, calluses, remove bunions, and can even perform total ankle replacements. Our physicians complete 3-year residencies in hospitals and train to manage your total foot and ankle health. Athletes with arch problems or tendon issues frequently seek out care from our physicians. Common health issues that podiatric physicians treat include ingrown or fungal nails, as well as warts and skin problems like athlete's foot. If you have ulcers or blisters, you should have that checked and have your footwear checked too. Diabetics are especially prone to foot issues when they have neuropathy. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? Visit associationsadvanceohio.com to find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association to help you, so you know that you are being treated by the very best.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris, Ohio has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefits package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at just over $17 per hour with annual increases. During the month of March, KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews every day from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply or see other career opportunities at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer. Spending more time at home? There has never been a better time to invest in your home. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. Can't watch your favorite basketball team in person? No problem. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc. today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Surround sound? You haven't heard surround sound till you hear Dolby Atmos 360 degrees. It puts you smack dab in the middle with 11.2 channel surround sound. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Millions of Americans have been affected by identity theft. Get LifeLock today and save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code RISK.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
We welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you on Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM. We are 2 days away from Reds opening day, Thursday afternoon, 4:10 the first pitch. I do know a couple of you guys are going. I know that, Jake Whiting on Facebook, shout out to him. I always appreciate him watching. I know that he and some friends are going down to Great American Ballpark for opening day, but guess what? It's going to be a chilly one. It's a beautiful day out today. I got out on the golf course yesterday. I'm going to be on the golf course today after the show. I'm going to be on the golf course on Thursday evening after we do our little show and then hand it off to the Reds. Actually, I may not be on the golf course Thursday now I think about it because it's supposed to be 37 degrees.
Mm-mm. Man, I want to go ride my bike today. 30, man.
Yeah, you should, but I wouldn't do it on Thursday.
My bike is still in the shop. I had to get a tune-up for my bike. My back wheel was bent. They had to do a couple of things for it, so I probably won't even get it. They said until mid-April. So by then, it should be warm enough to get out there a couple of days a week on a bike. Can't wait.
I'm not about the bike. Can't do the bike. If I do a bike, it's stationary.
I tell you this.
Me and the stationary bike have a lot in common. We just stay right there. We don't do much,
You come for a bike ride with me, I'll go to the golf course with you.
Oof. See, you can't get hurt playing golf. I can get hurt on the bike. We might have to do this. Okay, we'll see. I need a week to get in shape. Round is a shape, but not like I need like physical shape, right? All right, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I found this interesting that the Las Vegas Raiders have extended their left tackle Miller to a 3-year extension. Coincidentally enough, Kev, $18 million per year. That seems to be the going rate for if you want actual like good offensive linemen, you have to spend $18 million a year. So this bargain shopping, that by the way, like certain teams are not good enough to warrant asking for $9 to $10 million a year deals. Like you have to spend what the market is. And if you're not willing to spend what the market is, you're going to get less than market value, not just value, but players. It's just the reality of it. But I did think that was interesting. The Raiders let a lot of their top offensive linemen go as well. Then they extend him, but they don't have their guard. They still need to get some guards situated there. And then I saw that Bobby Hart, by the way, one man's trash is another team's trash technically. Bobby Hart has signed a deal for a 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. So there's that. Now, here's what will happen. He'll end up going and being a really good player for the Bills, and then that'll just, add fuel to my fire.
Turn into Anthony Munoz for them.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Let's see if we got these phones fixed. We got Charlie again. We're going to try Charlie. Charlie, you there?
It's the I Hate the Bengals show with Justin Kinner.
There we go. You could be our new voice guy. In fact, I'll let you voice it. In fact, you know what? We're going to cut that clip out, and you will give it to us one more time with all you got. I want you to say it's the I Hate the Bengals show
with Justin Kinner.
No, redo it so I don't have me in the background. 1, 2, 3, go.
It's the I Hate the Bengals show with Justin Kinner.
All right, there you go. We are making a sounder out of that, and it'll be permanent moving forward. We just need a sponsor for it. If you'd like to sponsor the I Hate the Bengals show, reach out to myself on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show. Direct message me. I'll definitely get a sponsor on the I Hate the Bengals hour every day. How about that? So, all right, Charlie, I know you didn't just call in for that. What's up? What you got?
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, the ESPN 30 for 30 you did about the Bengals.
I have another one coming, by the way, and you might be featured in it. I'm just saying.
I didn't think you could top it, right? Okay. Then you did the I Hate the Bengals show, and you topped it. That was one of the best things I ever heard you say. It was hilarious and spot on.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not spot on because, Charlie, I promise, this is my promise to you and all Bengals fans who continue to give me a shot every day, which I do appreciate because, all I do is go at your team and yet you still keep tuning in. So I appreciate that. But I will give you my biggest promise ever. When the Bengals are good, you won't hear me criticize them. There'll be nothing to criticize.
Hard to criticize teams that win. I understand that.
Yeah. So we're good. I think you're realistic. I mean, you're delusional in a lot of aspects, Charlie, but you're pretty realistic. I'm not delusional. The Bengals are bad. It's that simple. I'm not delusional. What am I delusional about?
Worse than the Browns, let's be honest.
All right,
both average teams.
Then you were on hold for a while just to come on with that weak stuff. You could do better than that.
No, hold on here.
Okay.
Because I know you like to push the power ranking that the Browns are ranked 4th and the Bengals are ranked 31st. And thank you, by the way.
31st out of 32 teams.
You're like, I don't think they're that bad. They're like the 28th worst team. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm all about giving.
How, on what planet can a team beat another team by an average of 4 points and be that much better than them? I don't understand where you're getting at. Now, if the Browns get blown out by the Ravens or the Steelers, which that happened, that makes sense. Like, that team is clearly better than the other team. But when they're barely beating a team by 4 points, how are they that much better? That doesn't even make any sense.
The Browns defense was not good. I've told you that. I was on that. Oh, they're way better. Nope, not going to get my blood. You're not going to do that, Charlie. I'm not going to give you that power. Let's be clear. They went out and added the best free safety in football, and they added one of the best quarterbacks in football.
You do not
so I'm
have
just
the best
saying.
safeties in football. We have the best safeties in football.
That's cute and adorable. But if you want that title, I'll let you wear that title. You're like Dwight Schrute. You're the assistant to the general manager. You're not actually the assistant general manager.
Hey, can I give you credit? You did
always.
The I Hate the Bengals show.
Okay.
Your rant about diapers and the baby.
Right? That's pretty accurate.
That's Emmy level, and I'm not kidding. That's hilarious.
But it's true. All my friends, like I used to have fun with, and I still love my friends, but they suck now. They all have kids. My one best friend's having a kid. He's going to suck soon. And if he's listening, he'll be mad at me, but he knows I love him. Everyone who has kids suck. But when you have a kid, it changes your life. And you start looking at the world differently. You don't continue doing the same things that you always do. And I equated that to when the Browns got Baker Mayfield. That was their baby. It totally changed how they look at it. Then all of a sudden, they started making all these awesome decisions. They started, nailing it on the offensive line. They were getting receivers. They were getting tight ends. They were killing it. They can't go wrong. I thought the Bengals were going to have the same thing happen to them. When they got their baby Joe Burrow, I thought that it was going to totally change their outlook on life. I thought that they were going to get their stuff together. And now I'm wondering what the alimony is going to look like. Like, I'm wondering what kind of child support they're going to owe whenever Joe Burrow leaves them. So that's what I'm kind of waiting on here.
Okay, so when you move Riley Reef to guard and draft Penei Sewell to right tackle, is the offensive line not good yet for you, or what?
If they draft Penei Sewell, that'll be the first nice thing I say about him in years. But I keep seeing all these reports that they're going to go Jamar Chase because Joe Burrow wants Jamar Chase. Well,
no one who said that. Some guy.
Read any report. I mean, for one, between Jay Morris and, by the way, those are all just things that they're hearing behind the scenes. We're just throwing that out there. It's really not that hard. And by the way, if you follow the Bengals, you have to have read some of this stuff.
I see some people having us take Jamar Chase. We're not going to take Jamar Chase. The only way in the world that would happen is if Penei Sewell got drafted before we got the pick.
Which I thought was a good chance. That's why I said the other day when the Ravens traded back, I said that's actually not a good thing for the Bengals because I was hoping, I said it wasn't a good thing for the Bengals because everyone's like, oh, that's great for the Bengals now because the Dolphins are trading back and now they're not going to take Penei Sewell and now the Bengals will have a chance. But all I'm hearing about is Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase. So now if they select either of those two over Penei Sewell, they're going to look really silly.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. They'll draft Penei Sewell and the Dolphins will get Jamar Chase. It would be awesome to have Kyle Pitts, but you're right. We got to have Penei Sewell. We got to have him.
Ooh, you just gave me another soundbite for the next 30 for 30. It's Charlie saying you're right, and that's where it's going to cut off at. Charlie, we're out of time this hour, man. Good hearing from you.
Hey, go Reds, man. I'm ready to go.
We can finally agree on something, right? Jonathan India, has it been announced yet, by the way? I haven't checked in a while. Is he officially – he's on the roster, but has they officially announced it yet?
I don't know about that. I'm just excited about the Reds.
I agree with you. I'm excited about the Reds. I'm excited. Look, by the end of April, they'll break our heart, I'm sure. But for right now, opening day is always my favorite day of the year. So there's.
Hey, by the end of April, we got the draft, so it's all good.
There you go. One bad Cincinnati team handing it off to the next. Charlie, take care.
See you, Justin.
All right. See, I can get along with others for a little bit.
Don't hold your breath. Got a whole another hour to go.
Now we're done with the football stuff. I'm just saying. We're done with the football stuff. I can't play nice when I talk football. I'm just saying. It is what it is. All right, so when we come back, talk a little college basketball. Give our predictions for what's coming up here in the Final Four Sweet 16. Some tickets have been punched. Very interesting dynamic there. And then also last night, there was a really good, the best basketball game of the night last night was on the women's side. And I do my best to try to not make it sound so, wow, I'm so surprised that the women, if you watch that UConn Baylor game last night, you don't have to be a men's basketball female or women's basketball fan to be a fan. It was, if you were a fan of basketball, that was one of the best basketball games of the year, if not the best basketball game of the year. I'm going to tell you, there was one thing that this game had that will make it one of the most memorable games of all time. And it is something that I think every sport desperately needs. It's something that we all hate, but I do think that it is something all sports needs. Last night's women's basketball game had an ending that I want to talk about that I do believe is going to be huge for the sport. And as much as we hate this particular aspect of sports, I think it makes sports even that much more bigger. We'll talk about that as we head into hour 3 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you're a business owner, you don't need us to tell you that running a business is tough, but you might be making it harder on yourself than necessary. Don't let QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down anymore. It's time to upgrade to NetSuite. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place instantly. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite. Join the over 24,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/radar. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/radar. netsuite.com/radar.
O'Reilly. This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up any non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen purchased at any retailer. Details at Exergen.com.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. 69-67 was the score last night in the best basketball game of the evening. It was NCAA women's basketball. UConn, the number 1 seed, knocking off number 2 Baylor. My thing is, how is their tournament set up? How is the number 1 and 2 facing each other?
That's the region. That was the regional.
Yeah, but like usually everything, like your number doesn't change. Like 1 should be running into 4 and 2 should be running into 3.
No, at the end of a regional, all the top seeds normally meet.
Yeah, but usually you're not broken down to a seed in your region. You're seeded the whole.
No, they're the number 2 seed in that region.
Oh, because the 4. Okay, that's where I was confused.
This is just the
I'm sorry.
Elite
Okay.
8.
So Arizona, Indiana was the 3 versus the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so 69-67 was the final last night. Unbelievable for you. Easily the best game of the night.
Absolutely.
And I think women's basketball desperately needed a game like this for one, just because for ratings for the NCAA women's tournament are through the roof right now, highest that they've been in over 15 years. So that's really cool. And then it's one thing to have, the ratings are up for a reason. Yes, it's because I think people are talking about it more, but the product, like last night, I will say this. Last night was the best of women's basketball and the worst of women's basketball. It was the best of women's basketball, as you and I talked about earlier, because it was 2 of the best teams. It was one hell of a game. It had everything you wanted. It had star power, from the coaches to the players to the brand of schools playing to the point in the tournament in which we are. And it had drama. It had an exciting finish. It had everything you want. That's what's great about it. The problem with it, though, is that there's literally, when you talk about the Final Four, it's always really good at women's basketball. The Final Four is always really good at women's basketball, but that's because there's only usually 4 really elite teams. And like, there's no upsets. Like, that's why the significance of Wright State women's team getting the upset last week was so significant, because that doesn't happen. And I think that hurts the sport too, in regards to you want those exciting moments. You want that drama. Like, it's tough to tune into the women's, basketball because of, and people could say there's stupid comments because it's women's basketball. No, it's tough to tune into the women's tournament as much as the men's, because it's very cookie cutter. It's very you know what I mean? Like, it's chalk a lot of times. Like, you get chalk results pretty much the whole way through. So there's no drama. There's no, intensity there. But when you start sprinkling in those upsets, I mean, you had those 4 double-digit seeds winning in one day. Like, that was a big deal to the sport. But last night, what was great about it was that that matchup. But it was also a reminder of the talent is not as deep in the women's pool as it is in the men's pool. And no, that's not a sexist comment. That's the reality of it. There are so many great teams in men's basketball that you could tune in and find a big time matchup on any given night. In women's basketball, not as much. Now, I'm not saying I'm not painting the entire sport as that's what the problem with it is, but last night, you after that game, like it didn't compare to the Arizona-Indiana game. It's an Elite Eight game. It had the same bit, it's the same level in the tournament, but it was not the same type of atmosphere and feel. I think that's what hurt. But last night, here's what I was telling you earlier about this game had an ending that I thought was so important for the game itself and for all of sports, and it's that dreaded, horrible officiating, right? We hate officiating. Right. I have never, and you have never, and no fan in the history of sports has ever said, man, that was a good game. And how about that officiating, man? That whatever his name is, that Tim Williams, whatever, that referee Tim Williams, man, I'm going to get his referee number on my jersey, man. Like, he's so good. I'm a big fan. No one's fans of officials. Referees all suck. They always make bad calls, yada, yada, yada. I've never once said, oh, man, that was a good officiated game. It is that's just the reality of it. Not saying that there's no such thing as that, but we just don't do that. We always want to rip officiating. But think about some of the most memorable sporting moments over the last 5 years, even if we want to go back to even when Ohio State and Clemson played in the Fiesta Bowl. What do we still talk about to this day? The officiating. Right. We talk about that targeting call. We talk about the fumble, the turning over or, changing the call on the turnover that totally swung momentum. We still talk about that to this day, but that was the most talked about game for weeks after. Yeah. This UConn-Baylor game will be talked about for days and weeks after because of that foul, the no call, I should say, more so than the foul. We do this all the time in sports. The last time Ohio State-Michigan actually had a game worth watching in football, it was the spot, the JT Barrett game, right? The spot of the turnover. That was a very controversial ending that we talked about forever, but that's what made that game so memorable. I'm not saying that you should root for bad officiating in every game, but sometimes, just sometimes, it's bad officiating that makes the game what it is, that makes it so special, that makes it memorable, that makes you talk about it. Yes, there's the losing team that'll suffer because of it, but man, that game itself, you're always going to, I think last night's game was so huge for women's basketball because it dominated every show today. First Take, Get Up, it dominated, on the Fox Sports shows. Like, I'm not saying that bad officiating is good, but damn it, like, that was a good game and it should have headlined a lot of shows today, but the bad officiating, the bad no call at the end, as crazy as it sounds, was the cherry on top of a great game. You're probably saying you shouldn't have bad officiating at all, but I'm telling you, you should be a little great. If you're a women's basketball fan, you should be a little grateful for that because, again, it took what was already a good game and a good storyline and it made it the number one topic across all shows today. I'm not saying I'm a fan of bad officiating, but man, sometimes like that Fiesta Bowl game, we talked more about that than the national championship game. Those games we remember, Ohio State, Michigan. We don't remember that Ohio State got blown out 31-0 that year. But damn, we still talk about that classic overtime finish, the spot and everything like that. Like, it was insane. Bad officiating sometimes is the face of games. You think of the NFC championship game years ago, or I think it was the quarterfinal, whatever it was, between the Saints and the
Rams.
Was it the Rams? I think it was the Vikings.
Rams.
Either way, doesn't matter the opponent. The point is that game was like, it changed how we viewed that. I mean, it totally took a potential Super Bowl off the table for Drew Brees, who definitely needed that for his legacy. So my point is that the way that game ended last night was insane. I still think it was good. People are saying that's bad for the sport. That's not what you want. It was good for the sport because it got it out there. The sport is being talked about. It shouldn't take that, but that's a win because it got the sports treatment, not the men's treatment. Right. It got the sports treatment that everyone wants the women's game to have. Well, it got that. Unfortunately, it was because of that bad call, but it put the level of that basketball game on notice. It was unreal.
Yeah, I'm with you. And unfortunately for Baylor, they're the ones that's going to have to live with this forever and loss of a chance to play in the Final Four. I go back with women's college basketball back to when Shamika Holdsclaw was at Tennessee. And then out of nowhere, you get Gino Auriemma and UConn. So then you had the UConn-Tennessee battle and the rivalry. They hated one another. Then you get Gino versus Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame. You had that. Now you have Gino and Kim Mulkey at Baylor. The game needs that. And the reason why this is so important, because we've had buzzer beaters in the women's game before, but we moved on. Like, oh man, great shot, and then it fizzles away. This got the treatment that would happen in a men's game because it was such an egregious call. I mean, I was watching the game live, and this is one of the games that I always watch. I always watch the women's Final Four, but when I saw that UConn and Baylor were going to play, I wasn't watching the men's game. I was like, this is the game I'm watching tonight. I know this is going to be a good game. UConn jumped out early, had like a 10-point lead in the first quarter. And yes, women's college basketball, they play quarters. Men's game, get it together. So they jump out early. Then Baylor comes storming back, takes a 2-point lead into the half. Then Baylor, they go up 10. Their point guard, Dee Richards, pulls her hamstring. And then UConn goes on a 17-0 run to end the third quarter. And they're up basically the whole fourth quarter. And then some way, somehow, they're down. Baylor's down 7 points. And they scrap and claw their way back into the game to be down 1 point with the ball. And we all know where the ball was going to go to. They were going to run a set for the one woman that actually ended up taking the shot, but they were going to try to work the ball down low. That's where their bread is buttered, in the paint. They're a paint team. And UConn did a great job and cut that off. So she drove the lane and she got smacked in the face. Now, people are talking about like, all right, man, you can't call like that in the vital minutes of the game. But I challenge the referee. That's your job, to call that call. Now, I am the biggest fan of, human error is a part of the game. Bad calls are a part of the game, not egregious calls. Like, you can't smack somebody in the face and on the elbow and say, no foul. Like, that's just unheard of. Like, I'm blown away how bad that call was, but I had no dog in the fight. I'm not rooting for anybody to win. I was just looking for a good game. And it's unfortunate that the game had to end like that. But you're right. It's being talked about everywhere. It was on Good Morning America this morning. Them talking about like, hey, you believe they didn't call a foul on that? Wow. How's weather? Like, it was everywhere. It was obviously on the sports channels and everything like that. But when you crack the morning show news to interrupt, talk about COVID vaccines, to talk about your game, that's only a good thing for the game moving forward.
And I'm not saying it wouldn't have been talked about if it didn't have that crazy no call at the end, but that's why I'm like, from the NCAA as a business, the NCAA is not pissed about that no call. That no, right? Well, I mean, the NCAA probably is pissed. They hate women's sports. So I'm just but that no call really is crazy. It's unfortunate, but let's be clear. That happens in men's games too. It's not a male female thing. It's the reality. But the reality is you want women's basketball out there. If we talk in terms of how to, get it out there, you can't be offended when we say, well, it should be out there. Okay, it should. That's besides the point. We're talking about it. It's the bottom line. That's important. We wanted to talk about this a year ago. So it's very important that happened last night. I thought it was interesting. I will say this. A bad call should be just as much of a bad call in the first quarter as it is the fourth quarter. I'm being consistent here. I don't blame that loss on the officials last night. I don't blame that at all. You gave up a 14-0 run or 19-0, whatever, 17-0 run, whatever it was. Just like Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl years ago. Man, that overcall, that just totally screwed the Buckeyes. They lost because of that. You mean with like 9 minutes to go in the third quarter when that happened? That's what cost you the game? You had an entire fourth quarter, an entire third quarter to play. You couldn't get your stuff together in that amount of time, so it's the officials' fault. No, I disagree. You lost a close game. Maybe if you hadn't given up 21 unanswered points, maybe if you converted some of those field goals into touchdowns. So that's why, like, at the end of the game, and I don't know, maybe it's because doing this show long enough, I don't know if I'm a proper fan. Like, I don't get sick to my stomach at games like I used to, but like, I remember after that saying I was pissed at Ohio State more than I was the officiating. Like, you let Trevor Lawrence rush for 100 yards. You let Clemson go on a 21-0 run. You let all that. You settled for field goals instead of getting and converting touchdowns when you got into the red zone. But yeah, it's the officials in the third quarter with 9 minutes to go why you lost that game. So yes, the no call cost them the game last night. You gave up the 17-0 run. You had the game in control. You had plenty of time. Yes, the call should be made correct. So you could still hold into the same standards, but I never buy into the officiating cost us the game, because there are so many stretches throughout a game in any sport that I could say, maybe you lost the game in the 17-0 run. Maybe you wouldn't have been in that position had you not given up the 17-0. Two very good teams, by the way. UConn could do that to anybody. But that's where I come at it with that is I'm very consistent. get mad at bad officiating, yes, but I also refuse to ever let officiating, and I'll be called a hypocrite one day. I'm sure the Browns will lose because of officiating, and I'll be ticked. I came close to that in the game against the Chiefs. The Higgins when it went out of bounds, and he had to. Oh man, that was brutal. It was a stupid, but it's just stupid. You could hate the rule, but it is what it is. So my point is. I don't blame the officiating on that game. That was a bad call, but there was bad play. I mean, when you give up a 17-0 run, I don't care how good the team is. If you are a Final Four national championship team, you don't give up 17-0 runs. I don't care how good the opponent is that you're playing. So that's where I come at it with that.
Since I watched the game, I saw like the momentum shift once their point guard went out the game, and the best defensive player in the country, like the young lady for UConn, like she basically didn't have her on them anymore, and she went to town once the young lady from Baylor went out the game, and like the whole momentum shifted. So I was on the verge of turning it off. I was like, oh, this is a wrap. But Baylor, to their credit, they strapped in and dug their heels in and got back into the game and had a chance to win it. It's just unfortunate. I won't say it's, oh man, the referees are the reason why, but I would say it's unfortunate a game of that magnitude and a game that good, that well played, had to come down to the referee decided not to call what looks like an obvious call. Like, it's unfortunate that, that had to come down to that. As a fan of basketball, I just wanted the game to be played out by the players as opposed to being up to the referees.
Yeah, but we can't tell referees to make those calls and then get mad because they make them, and then when they make them,
you say call what you see. What you see.
But the thing is, though, we do this all the time. We pick and choose when we want officials to fit. Like, here's the one line in sports I hate. I heard it. I think, it had to be the first weekend of the tournament, and it was the Ohio State Oral Roberts game. One of the guys on Oral Roberts was a freshman. I remember him going in, and I forgot who was calling the game that day. But they said, "Oh man, if he was a junior or senior, the referee would have given him that call." No, and it was the testator, whatever. They were going to the officiating little reporter. I think it's testator, whoever's doing it for the NCAA tournament. And he said, as a freshman, you're not going to get that call, but as a senior, you probably screw you, buddy. A foul's a foul. I hate that. Like, you're right. A foul's a foul, call it. But like, we've added these little intricacies in the art of officiating where we pick it, we change how, in the first quarter, you let them feel it out. In the second half, you want to tighten it up. And then, or in the second half, you loosen up a bit after tightening it up in the first. No, I just can't stand that. Officiating should be consistent the whole way through, but we are responsible for that too. Coaches and players and fans, we put the pressure on the officials too. Oh, let them play. No one came here to see you blow your whistle. And then what do we say? Oh, come on. We didn't come here to watch you swallow your whistle. That's what happens. Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I can't stand.
Let a rookie go out there and try to do some of the moves James Harden does. Traveling. But it's James Harden. He can do 5 steps. It's James, man. That's what he does. It's cool.
Yeah. So there you go. How about that? Women's basketball's hot, babe. I'm proud of us. There you go. But it was worth the time because that game was unbelievable. I mean, there was some good men's games throughout this tournament, but there's been a lot. There's quite a few good women's games I've watched, including Wright State getting that upset, which I do got to give a shout out. Katrina Merriweather was with Wright State for, I think, like 9+ years. I mean, a head coach for the last 5, 2 NCAA appearances, won the conference multiple times, 3-time coach of the year in her conference. Love the woman to death. She took the Memphis job, and she is leaving after leading Wright State to that upset win last week. So shout out to her. Congratulations on the new opportunity. And I said this today. Everyone talks about how great a coach she is. That's a given. She's just as good a person. Go look at any of the tweets about her. Every tweet's about how good a person she is. That speaks volumes about her. So shout out to Katrina Merriweather. Congratulations and best of luck moving forward at Memphis. But leave Angel Baker here. How about that?
Absolutely.
You can leave her here. How about that? No. All right. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So Indiana has a new coach, the Hoosiers. Mike Woodson, Nick's assistant now, former Hoosier great. And people are not happy. People are not happy about that. I'm like, with what you're watching in college basketball right now, why are you upset? Why would this not work? I have so many examples of this situation playing out the right way. We'll discuss on the other side of this break. But Thad Matta is involved in this too, and people are also holding that against Mike Woodson. We'll discuss when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 75. Tonight's going to be cloudy with showers, a low around 43. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy and very windy, a high around 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up any non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. With COVID continuing to spread, nothing matters more than having an accurate thermometer that's backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies, like the Exergen temporal scanner. Even after getting the COVID vaccine, you should be monitoring for fever to make sure you are protected. Keep your family and yourself safe by trading up your non-contact thermometer for an accurate temporal scanner and a $5 rebate from Exergen, where accuracy matters. Details at Exergen.com.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide and Charmin and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate of $16.44 per hour for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts, plus an additional per-hour rotating shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefit package on day one, including medical, dental, and 401k. For more information, visit pgcareers.com. Search for Dayton and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Freshen up your home with a new coat of Dutch Boy Platinum Plus paint. It features Stain Shield technology, providing up to 50% more stain resistance and washability. A gallon of flat is $28.98 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through April 3rd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
Hey, my name's James, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the first bite, you get a little kick of spice, and then that cilantro and lime sauce that kind of balances things out. Just delicious.
Hey, I'm Amber. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is how well all of the ingredients complement each other. It's so good. I like bob my head side to side, dancing while I eat.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-25-4801.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Millions of Americans have been affected by identity theft. Get LifeLock today and save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code RISK.
It's time to swing for the fences. Want to win $1,000? Be listening weekdays once an hour starting at 6 a.m. for the winning word and enter it at wingam.com. It's the Swing for the Fences $1,000 a day giveaway right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area, with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. I have a chance for you to win $1,000. So head to wingam.com. It's time to swing for the fences. It's the Swing for the Fences $1,000 a day giveaway. All you have to do is be listening out for the keyword that drops once an hour. You'll enter that keyword at wingam.com for your opportunity and chance to win $1,000. So your winning word for the 5 o'clock hour, head to wingam.com and enter the winning word SPICE, SPICE. Let's spice it up a bit. So head to wingam.com and spice it up a bit by entering the winning word SPICE at wingam.com for the Swing for the Fences $1,000 a day giveaway. We appreciate everyone who participates in that. And again, you should. I mean, it's free. The only thing it costs you is maybe the 15 seconds of your time to go to wingam.com and enter the winning word SPICE. So make sure you take care of that right now. Something that happened over the weekend that I wanted to get into yesterday, but we were off because of Reds baseball. I found this fascinating. I've been keeping an eye, as we all have, on how Indiana was going to go about filling that position, because Brad Stevens was the name that every Indiana basketball fan out there wanted. Kev, was Brad Stevens, and I do feel bad for Brad. I think Brad Stevens is one, if not one more season away, like this season or one more season away from being fired. And it's not because he's bad at his job. It's just because in the NBA sometimes, like, he was a part of the rise up of the Boston Celtics after the rebuild a little bit, right? Like, you had Jaylen Brown, you had a lot of these rookies, you know what I mean? Like, you had these good guys. So, but right now you're not getting any, like the Sixers have surpassed you. Like the Boston, it's supposed to be their time. How many Eastern Conference Finals did they get to? How many times did they become so close? And they haven't gotten better. They've actually regressed. They're no fault. I mean, they've added Kemba Walker, they've added Gordon Hayward, they've added some good quality guys, but they haven't been able to really get it all together. Gordon Hayward, sorry. Brad Stevens was adamant he did not want this job. that he loved his time. He loved the state. He loved his ties there, but he loves the job he has with the Boston Celtics. I think he's being too loyal to the Celtics, Kevin. I bet you everyone in that front office, Danny Ainge included, is like, this is going to be really painful that you maybe turned down a dream job to stay with us, and we're probably going to can your ass after this season. Not because he's not good, but we see this all the time in pro sports, Kev. Good coaches, their message runs stale. You have to move on. I think Brad Stevens made a mistake, Kev. I really do think he should have literally in the middle of the NBA season just said, deuces, I'm out. Like, if you can't see the writing on the wall, I don't know what to tell you, because you're not winning an NBA title this year. You're going to get to the playoffs. You're going to be okay in the playoffs. But you're not winning it this year, and you're not winning it next year unless Kevin Durant and James Harden get hurt. You're not even getting to the finals the next 2 years. Like, the Sixers are better than you. The Nets are better than you. The Hornets are working their way up with the healthy ball. So, I mean, I don't know. They're in trouble. I just don't see the relationship between them lasting much longer. I think he made a mistake. I would have loved to have seen Brad Stevens take over the Indiana program. However, Indiana, I think, hit a home run over the weekend. This reminds me of years ago, a little bit of different circumstances. Thad Matta resigned late into the offseason. Well behind. I mean, literally, everyone thought Ohio State was done for, at least for that next season, because, he leaves. That's when Archie Miller left UD and took the Indiana job. And everyone knew that when Thad Matta his time was done at Ohio State, Archie was going to be the guy that they went after. I think we all knew that was the path, but it didn't unfold that way because Indiana's job became, the Indiana job opened up before the Ohio State job did, and it made a lot of sense for Archie to take that job. So then, they hire Chris Holtmann, and everyone's like, well, because we didn't get the guy we really wanted in Archie Miller, no matter who we get, it's just not going to feel the same. Chris Holtmann, I'm not going to lie to you, I love the guy. I think he is fantastic. The Buckeyes are very lucky to have him. He has made the tournament every single year. He has top recruiting class every single year. I know the Oral Roberts thing happened, but give me a break. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. But at the time, I didn't think so. At the time, I was like, yeah, but he's not Archie Miller. And we all know how this ended up turning out. They ended up getting the better of the two, right? Everyone wanted Brad Stevens at Indiana. They got Mike Woodson. I think Mike Woodson is going to be to Indiana what Chris Holtmann is to Ohio State. Mike Woodson makes a ton of sense. He's a former Hoosier great. One of the best of all time to play at Indiana. Played for Bob Knight. He was a part of a lot of those legendary teams at Indiana, Kev. He is perfect. He's exactly what's working in college basketball right now. Take a look. Penny Hardaway at Memphis just won the NIT championship, by the way. But they won 19 and 20 plus games his first two seasons, NCAA tournament appearances. You had the number one prospect in James Wiseman with you for a brief stint of time. They have top recruiting classes. They have the number 3 or number 4 recruiting class next year. Penny Hardaway's kicking ass at Memphis. Yep. You look at Georgetown. Patrick Ewing has been a little bumpy. I'm not going to sit there and say that he's been fantastic, but you know what? Georgetown has been irrelevant since for how long? Since Hibbert? Yeah. Since Hibbert? I mean, I'm going to let you answer that real quick. The last time that Georgetown basketball meant anything to me, it was the Sweet 16. It was Ohio State against Georgetown. It was Greg Oden against Hibbert, and it was an awesome game. Jeff Green. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, he got hurt right away in his NBA career. But anyways, he got by the Supersonics is where he went. But my point is it's been a long time. He gets back. They're winning games. They won their conference championship. They get to the NCAA tournament. You know how cool it was to see Georgetown and Patrick Ewing pacing the sidelines? I know it was a one-and-done thing, but he's killing it. Oh, yeah, and then Juwan Howard. I'm not a Michigan fan, but I'm a Juwan Howard fan. So I'm pulling for anything Juwan Howard's. And Juwan Howard is absolutely killing it, Kev. They're without Livers. They're without their best damn player. Right. They have no business being this far in the tournament, but here they are. They're the only Big Ten team remaining. So I think that Coach Woodson makes a ton of sense. Mike Woodson, I think, is going to kill it. I love the hire. People are ripping the hire. Why would you hire Mike Woodson and then put Thad Matta as the they basically created a title for him. If you want someone bad enough, that's what happens in college athletics. It is what it is. You might as well have just hired Thad Matta. Why is Mike Woodson getting ripped for this? Why is Indiana getting ripped for this? Phil Martelli is on the sidelines, is on the bench for Juwan Howard, and for why? The same. Indiana fans. You're hiring a guy that has no college coaching experience. That's where Thad Matta comes into play. That's why it's important to have a good, assistant coaching staff. Juwan Howard killed it. Adding Phil Martelli, Juwan Howard could have been a little concerned. Like, I know I used to run it here as a player, but Phil Martelli, man, he knows what he's doing in college basketball. If I get off to a rough start, Phil Martelli is the next coach at Michigan. I think Juwan Howard's in good shape. It was smart to add him there. Penny Hardaway has a lot of NBA coaches on his staff. All right. This is so stupid to be getting mad at. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think it's just because we all, Thad Matta is the devil we know versus the devil we don't. But Mike Woodson, man, I think he's going to kill it. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to do what Juwan Howard's doing at Michigan, what Patrick Ewing is doing at Georgetown, getting them back in the tournament, what Penny Hardaway's doing at Memphis. I do think that the NBA connection, I think that's an overused excuse at times. I think that this is a huge hire for Indiana. It may not have been the hire they originally wanted, but it may be the hire that is best for them. Chris Holtmann was not the hire that Ohio State truly wanted, but he ended up being what was best for them. And I think that's what's happening at Indiana right now.
You brought it up. Phil Martell on the sidelines for Michigan.
Yeah.
He's on the sidelines for Michigan, helping Juwan Howard. Now, obviously, Juwan Howard is getting all the credit. I mean, he is the head coach. He is running the ship. But him having those assistant coaches that have coached in college basketball before, who know how to, guide him on his journey to being a great coach, those are ideal. That's an ideal situation. That's exactly what you should be doing. That's credit to the University of Michigan for making sure he's successful. They're setting Juwan Howard up to be successful. Obviously, he's a great coach. He's proved it throughout his tenure there. But having those guys on the sideline can only help. You have a coach and Martelli who coached at St. Joe's and everything like that, and had Jameer Nelson and Delonte West, that big time team that they had. He was the coach there, so he knows the ins and outs of not only basketball but the college game, because the college game is totally different from the NBA game. So not only the communication with the student athletes, but communication between you and the athletic director, the SID. There's a ton of things that college coaches have to do. They have to go on these tours and shake hands and kiss babies. Like, these are things that NBA coaches don't have to worry about. So if you got somebody that has experience doing that, they can coach you through that. And that's exactly what Thad Matta's role is going to be with Mike Woodson at IU. I love the hire for Mike Woodson. He's a former player there. He wanted this job for a long time. I mean, you talked about the guys that have been doing it with Penny Hardaway and Patrick Ewing and obviously Juwan Howard, but like, this has been going on for a while now. I mean, the team that I follow, Jim Boeheim, he's an alum. He used to play for Syracuse before he started coaching there. Roy Williams, he's an alum of North Carolina. So this happens in college basketball. This is almost like a ritual in college basketball, where you find one of your own to come back and guide the program to success. And I wish Mike Woodson nothing but the best, except for when they play the Buckeyes.
Well, you're right. I mean, look, and obviously Anthony Grant at UD and that type of, but what made this different is Anthony Grant had college coaching experience.
Right.
Okay. Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, same thing. So what I meant, those other examples I was using, because I guess I didn't set the context correctly, because the Woodson thing, the reason he was getting a lot of heat or people weren't happy is because he has no college coaching experience. And I'm like, well, either did Juwan Howard, either did Penny Hardaway, either did Patrick Ewing. But basketball, X's and O's, I will never question that these guys know the X's and O's. But they have what I think a lot of the older coaches are starting to lose touch with, and that's the relationships with the current players. I don't need Coach Woodson to prove that he has better X's and O's strategies than a Roy Williams or Mike Krzyzewski. I just need to know that when Mike Woodson goes and sits in the living room with these top 10 players, top 100 players in the country, that he's going to resonate with them. We keep asking, why is Duke trending down in North Carolina? By the way, they're not trending down as in going to be these bad programs. Duke has another great recruiting class coming in. I just think what you're seeing is that Penny Hardaway, especially with his AAU connections that he had, like, that was his scene. He dominated there. What was great about that is the fact that, like, that what you need is players. The X's and O's will come with the players. And the flaws that you have with your X's and O's, talent will prevail. And I think Memphis is right now, their trajectory is pretty high. Georgetown, I think, is going to get better. By the way, someone ripped me over the weekend and said those are horrible examples. Penny Hardaway was in the NIT and Patrick Ewing only made the tournament because they won the conference tournament. First of all,
so that's what you're supposed to do.
Penny Hardaway, top 25 team in his first 2 years, won 20 plus games both years, won an NIT championship this year, and has a top 5 recruiting class next year. Penny Hardaway's killing it.
Also had the number 2 pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, when AD's hired, this is what they want. Because when you have play, like look at Obi Toppin going into the NBA, look how much extra time, look how much extra exposure UD has gotten because of that. Every time Obi's playing, his story at UD is brought up. That's what ADs want. They want you to come in and get players like this that are going to not just be, from the months of November through March, we're going to no, I need you to keep us being talked about through recruiting season, through NBA season, through the offseason, like, you know what I mean? Like through it all. And that's what these guys are doing. I think Coach Woodson's going to do that. But no, I love that. And someone said, you're typical in this post right here saying that I'm a UD hater because I didn't include Anthony Grant in this conversation. I didn't exclude him to hate on him. I said the reason that I like Mike Woodson, he's a former Indiana great. I mean, I know that AG was good, but I don't think anyone before his name got brought up for the coaching job was going to bed at night saying, man, Anthony Grant's one of my top 5 all-time Flyers. There's no disrespect to him. That's just the reality of it. But, Chris Wright's a bigger name in the program than what AG was during his time. I mean, imagine if Miguel Knight coached the Dayton Flyers or Chris Wright. Chris Wright has no college coaching experience, but I tell you who I would love to see, once Anthony Grant, who's kicking ass, by the way, Anthony Grant leaves, takes another job down the road. I would love to see Chris Wright get an opportunity. Chris Wright would fit right in the mold of what these guys are doing. We're no college coaching experience. Chris Wright knows the damn game. He's from this city. He believes. I would love that. We can't do this. All of these coaches don't have coaching experience. We can't give them the job. They know. You think they don't know the game? These guys aren't stupid. Chris Wright's not stupid. All right. I think he would be fantastic. And look at all the work he's doing with his AAU teams and the Top Flight Academy and everything that he's doing there. He's killing it. Chris Wright should be brought up in the future. If this trend continues where former players are getting head coaching jobs with their alma maters without college coaching experience, Chris Wright should be brought up down the road when Anthony Grant, and I'm not pushing him out the door, by the way, I'm just saying, like when Anthony Grant's time is done, like Chris Wright is who I would compare to this situation here of being that former great player that you always, remember. I think he would kill it. I think he'd be great.
I don't know why people always pull that he has no experience coaching. Steve Nash didn't have NBA
and what
coaching.
did he do? Look at his coaching staff, by the way.
Yeah, and he got Amari Stoudemire, but he also got D'Antoni on his staff. Mark Jackson didn't have coaching experience before he took the Warriors job. Like that, I think that's so overblown. Like you said, these guys played in the league. They played in the league that they're coaching in. These guys have coached. They played in college basketball, played professional. They know the game of basketball. And another thing about what Juwan Howard and what potentially Mike Woodson can do is you look at some of the guys that's big time contributors for the Michigan basketball program. You got a lot of grad transfers on there too. You got the point guard, I believe his name is Smith, the small guy, getting in the lane. And you got the kid.
He replaced the kid from Lima, by the way. That's why people thought Michigan was really going to struggle this year because, why am I losing his name? His dad's a coach at Lima Senior.
I know you're talking about.
It ticks me off. I'm looking at him. I watched him play in high school, but he was really, really good. Now, like they thought, man, that's a tough position. And like, it's like quarterback in football when you have to replace your senior point guard who played for 4 years, who had all that experience. Now that he's gone, that's tough to do. And they were able to get that.
Get a grad transfer from Columbia. And then you got
Simpson, Xavier Simpson.
There you go. You got Brown Jr. to transfer from Wake Forest. So you got a lot of guys that they didn't see Juwan Howard play. They weren't alive, but guess who did? Their parents saw Juwan Howard play, and Juwan Howard can relate to these guys because his kids are their age. And
30 for 30s.
Yeah, he's at the AAU circuit, and that's where you need to be. Like, look, we love high school basketball, you and I. But let's be clear, like the guys that are going to be making this like super impact, like college coaches aren't going to a ton of high school basketball games like to be scouting. They're going there. All right, the guy that I'm recruiting is playing at school Z is in town. I'm gonna go check him out. But they're really at the AAU circuit because you get the bang for your buck. You can go to one AAU tournament.
There we go.
AAU tournament and see 20 kids as opposed to going to a high school game and seeing 2. So they have those connections with those coaches, and I think he's going to do a bang-up job.
I do too. And it's interesting you bring that up because you look at the AAU circuit. I mean, I just talked with a guy he used to coach Spire Academy, which is where Mellow Ball played, obviously, when they came. But I just called the games with him on SUTV for the Flying to the Hoop Top Gun showcase. And was working with him. Now, he used to be a coach at Spire, and he's close with Anthony Grant. But I loved just sitting there talking with him, picking his brain. And I was just asking him, his thoughts on, are kids getting anything out of playing on their their original high school, playing at a Centerville, playing at a Fairmont, playing it. Then he goes, yeah, anytime you're playing basketball, yes. He goes, but what the value of these academies are is just, for one, they're pipelines. The reason they're so valuable, and some don't like it, but the coaches, it's very important that those teams, those coaches, the coaching staffs on those prep teams like Spire and everything else, like all the teams you see come in for Flying to the Hoop and the Top Gun Showcase, those coaches of those prep teams probably aren't as, they have the connections with those players, which makes them more important than the more qualified X's and O's coaches at the high school level. But that all they care about is the connections, the pipelines. Right. And coaches want to know that, hey, I have this point guard you need to look at, but while you're here, why don't you take a look at this new shiny power forward we have? And hey, we just got this new model center, man. He has quite, it's all about those prep teams. I hate it, by the way, because I like the community feel of high school basketball. I love the Centerville story. They scrapped and clawed to finally get their first state championship. But unfortunately, those teams, that's losing its luster for the elite talent. And you're starting to see those teams go to those prep teams and the AAU scene in the offseason, which is fine. But I loved picking his brain on that. I mean, we're watching a couple of these players during that Top Gun Showcase, and he's over there. He's texting Dennis Gates at Cleveland State. He's texting Greg Camp. He's texting all these, he's texting Anthony Grant. He's texting all of these coaches that he knows. Hey, man, you got to take a look at this kid. You got to take a look at this kid. I don't know. I don't know what the dead period is. I don't know if I got in trouble there, but you know what I'm saying?
Blaine Kenner.
Hey, like I said, never mind. It is what it is. But I found that, the Ty Washington, the kid that was committed to Creighton, played with Deron Holmes for that Arizona Compass Prep. In fact, so Ty Washington now is still looking for a team. He decommitted. And guess what? That's what those prep teams mean. If you play your regular high schools, Deron Holmes is going to play here. Ty Washington going to play over here. These prep teams become a one-stop shop. They become very important. It's all about the pipeline. We talk about those IMG schools and all that stuff for football. It's just as important for basketball, these prep teams as well. So I'm torn on it. I get my entertainment out of it because of all the talent you get to watch on the floor. But, man, I just think that as that becomes bigger, it's really taken away from the community feel of athletics. Look at this Centerville team that just won a state championship. I'll always value that more than a prep team, but college coaches I don't care if there's a whole community watching them win championships or not. I just want that mofo on my team for the next 4 years or one if they're really good.
One and done.
We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on the other side of the break. Let me ask you this, a little tease. The transfer portal, how many names do you think are in that? Are we over 800? Are we over 900? Are we over 1,000?
I would say about 9, somewhere around there.
All right, we'll discuss that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening. Who's able to hear more than what's being said and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man versus Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris, Ohio has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefits package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at just over $17 per hour with annual increases. During the month of March, KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews every day from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply or see other career opportunities at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Today on Hey Culligan, cleaner, safer drinking water. We got Chris in Cleveland.
Hey, Culligan, I have a water pitcher. Is that safe?
Basic water pitchers are, let's say, passable, but a Culligan reverse osmosis system can do way more and help reduce lead, arsenic, something called pesticide runoff.
Hey, Culligan?
Yeah, Chris?
I'll take one of those
reverse osmosis to get the mostest out of your drinking water. Chris, we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
Did you know you can get paid while enjoying the great outdoors? Grunder Landscaping Company, an industry leader, is currently offering full-time year-round positions. Grunder Landscaping provides competitive wages, a robust benefit package, free uniforms, paid certifications and training, career growth, and a $2,000 signing bonus. Apply online at grunderlandscaping.com or visit in person on Fridays between 12 and 4 at 1900 Old Byers Road in Miamisburg. Bring a friend to be eligible for a $1,000 referral bonus.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Don't overpay for glasses. Get 2 pairs and a free exam for just $69.95. That's not just a better deal. It's America's best. Book your exam online today.
Don't miss out on the opportunity to win $1,000. It's the Swing for the Fences $1,000 a day giveaway. Each hour starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, we'll release a winning word that you can submit at wingam.com. It's easy, it's free, and you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So what's stopping you? Take a chance and swing for the fences and participate at wingam.com. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I don't know about you, but I cut the cable cord a long time ago, and I've never had any complaints until now that we are 2 days away from opening day. And all the regional Fox Sports, or all the regional Fox Sports channels they don't have a deal with YouTube TV. So I'm a little upset. I'm a little frustrated. That I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch a lot of baseball this year. And I will let you know by the end of April if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, I got YouTube TV as well. I was running into a small difficulty. I didn't notice it watching regular TV, but when I watch sports, like it would start buffering. And I'm like, what is going on? Had to switch it because it was on auto instead of 1080i. 1080 IP. So like
I don't speak Spanish, Baxter. I have no clue what you're saying.
No, that's just like the streaming quality. I had to take it from auto because like it would just like bounce around from.
I see that setting on my phone.
Yeah.
So I
had to switch it from my TV. Yeah. So like my TV in my living room is one setting and the one in my bedroom is like 480. So I had to switch it so it would stop buffering during the games. And I was like, what is going on out here? But then I figured it out. So we're cool now.
I watched Behind Her Eyes or whatever that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Nora and I watched it. It was 6 1-hour episodes, and we watched all 6.
So proud of you.
Just because it's a stupid ending, but outside of that,
the ending was awesome.
I mean, it was let me reset that. It wasn't. I didn't like the ending. It was a good ending. It was a surprise ending. I'm not giving out any spoilers, but for those who are always looking for that next big binge-worthy show to watch, Kev got me on that last week. Put it off for about a week and a half, but I got that done in one day.
It's hard to have an ending that surprises you, and that definitely got me. And it's also even harder because with social media, if you don't watch something as soon as it comes out, you'll find the spoilers and it's ruined.
Like Tiger King. A year ago, that was the thing.
Yeah, around this time last year.
Oofa.
Yeah, so the show that I watch now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it comes out every Friday on Disney Plus. I have to get up at 6 a.m. and watch it because it'll be spoilers about what happened on the episode. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you have to watch everything as soon as you can, because if you don't, you could be doing something on Twitter for work and then you get the whole movie spoiled. Terrible.
Something I want to spend more time on tomorrow, excuse me, but I want to get into this. I asked you how many players you think have entered the transfer portal. You guessed in the 900 range.
Mm-hmm.
You guessed in the 900 range. Let me make sure I have this up. For whatever reason, I must not have put that on Facebook, but I clearly put it on Twitter, but it's clearly is right here. So according to Verbal Commits, by the way, I think Verbal Commits does a great job. If you want to follow them on Twitter, literally, I mean, every name, they have a link and everything that you can go and get up to the minute or up to the most updated name, on the list. Over 1,000 names have now been listed. 45 names alone were added yesterday, and God knows how many have been added today.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second time in the last 2 years that the transfer list has exceeded 1,000 names, obviously last year being that. Here's the deal. I don't want to get into the debate about whether players should be able to just come and go as they please. I do believe, just like in anything in life, there should be some kind of restrictions to a certain degree. I do not think it should be a free-for-all. I do not. I don't think this is good for the sport. I'm coming at you from a sports angle. I'm not coming at you from a humanitarian angle here. Sure, you could do the everyone's different and they're looking for a better. I'm not even on the side of that players shouldn't be able to just up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge fan, though, now of having to sit out a year. And I think that the NCAA made them, I think by having players sit out a year, it makes you reevaluate your surroundings and say, okay, I don't really care for X, Y, and Z, but I really don't want to. It's not that bad that I want to sit out an entire year for me to go play somewhere else that's better. That's why I think that needs to be there, because right now it's the coach yelled at me. He doesn't like how I'm wearing my hair. He doesn't like how I'm tying my shoes. I'm out of here. Boom. And I don't like that. I think that we're too close to the second something doesn't go right for a player, they want to bolt. I don't like that. I do know that for every 5 situations of mental health being the main reason you want to transfer, for every 5 reasons of that, there's 100 reasons of, I can't believe the coach talked to me that way. Can't believe he made me run after practice for being late. And I think you have to find a happy medium to be able to weed out those guys and still accommodate those who are trying to balance mental health and doing what's actually right. I'm not cold-hearted. I do believe that there are athletes out there who, man, I couldn't wait to go play at UCLA and move across the country and live in LA. And man, I'm just depressed. I'm homesick. This isn't right. It's tough playing basketball. It's tough playing football. But man, I miss my parents. I miss my girlfriend. I miss my brother. I miss whatever. I'm fine with that. That's real. That I will never say that's not real. But for every 5 of those situations, there are 100. The coach told me that I was going to have to split playing time. I'm not splitting playing time. I've been here long, and I do not think that those should have the free reign to just go to the next school and play right away. Sit out a year. And I think that the NCAA screwed up by letting certain players just get away with whatever the transfer request was because, they're a star player. I don't want to get into the reasons of the Justin Fields transfer. Some call it bogus. It's a weird line that I don't really want to get into without being called names. But if it was bogus, he played the system well, good for him, and it worked. But if he was a no-name quarterback, if he was a no-name quarterback at the bottom of the totem pole, I don't think the NCAA grants him that waiver. I think the NCAA picks and chooses which stars they want to allow to move on, but now they've opened up Pandora's box. I'll let you get the closing thoughts on this because I don't want to keep you from having. We're going to get into it more tomorrow. 1,000, Kev. You mean to tell me mental health is real? Yes. If I don't like my job here, I can go take another job. We have that, but this is a little different. We know that you are going to a school to play for college athletics in exchange for scholarship. Just because you don't value what they are giving you in return doesn't mean that you're not getting anything to play. But with that being said, I think that, yes, mental health is the number one reason you should be able to relocate elsewhere. But I promise you, the 1,000 names in this, Kev, you mean there's 1,000 kids who are mentally unhappy? And I mean like really unhappy, not like, oh, coach yelled at me because I was late to practice, because there's a good chunk of those kids in there too. That who is this coach to tell me what to do? I've been told since I was 11 that I'm going to be the next big thing or whatever. Because these kids they're told how great they are from the time they're in middle school. And then the first time that a coach probably truly yells at them is in college. And then they think, who the hell are you, buddy? I'm out of here. That's my concern about all this.
Real quick, it hit my team that I follow in college basketball the most because 3 of the guys on the team transferred. Superstar freshman Kadari Richmond, a couple role players hit the transfer portal. Just because you entered the transfer portal does not mean you are 100% gone. 9 times out of 10 it does. But what I would like to see a breakdown of the guys that are grad transfers, because you do have to put your name in the transfer portal when you're a grad
that's the new way to track everything. Someone tried to get me on that the other day, like, Kenner, you need to stop saying that Chapman transferred from UD. He was a grad transfer. It doesn't matter. He entered the transfer portal. Even grad transfers have to enter the transfer portal. That's how it's, monitored.
Right. I would like to see that, because that number can be skewed, because if you're a grad transfer, like, hey man, I fulfilled my academic requirements. 2, I also would like to see the number of guys, which we won't see because there's no way to track this, but the guys that were encouraged to enter the transfer portal, because they have exit interview meetings with their coaches and the coaching staff, and these coaches tell them if they see a role for them on the team next year. And a lot of these, not won't say a lot, some of these guys are encouraged, encouraged, like, hey, we ain't got a role for you here. We got a lot of different guys coming in. You're just going to be a practice player. So if you really want to play, you probably should enter the portal. So I know there's a percentage of guys that have that going on, especially in college football when there's a new coach coming to town. When there's a new coach coming in, a new regime and everything like that, they have overhaul. And college scholarships aren't, hey, man, you got 5 years. There are 1-year renewable contracts between you and the academic institution of higher learning. So I would like to know those numbers before I just say, like, this is bad for everything, because these things we'll never know. We'll always find out about a guy that's entered a transfer.
You're a number. You're not a name right now. You're just one of the 1,000 names in the transfer.
So that's something that I know that you want to see, like, hey man, why are everybody transferring? And then my rebuttal to that was, well, let's open it up. Let's see what guys are being told, like, hey man, there's no spot for you on this team no more. Even though I recruited you 3 years ago, we don't want you on the team no more. So if you want to play, you should enter the transfer portal. So like, I want to see the breakdown numbers of that. We'll never see those numbers because the schools will never let that get out, because they'll seem cold and heartless and everything like that. So that's where I'm at with it. I have no problem with it, even though it's affecting the team that I root for in college basketball, Syracuse and everything like that. It is what it is, man. It's a new world.
I will say this too. We're over, but we're already over, so might as well keep swimming. With the coach, like, and you probably say this, so if I come aggressive, so be it. You don't have to talk to me the rest of the show. We're almost done. I want to run my head through a window every time. Not open window, like glass, and run it through glass in a window. Every time I hear someone say, coaches can come and go, players should come and go. Coaching is their job. They are paid a lot of money to do that. And although a lot of players are paid to go to college under the table, all right, coaching is not the same. And if you're talking about the 20 coaches who changed their coaching situation in the offseason, you mean to tell me that that's as bad as the thousands of kids who make their change every year? Coaching changes is not a pandemic that happened, or a epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Pandemic, I said that a lot. That's not a problem with it. That happens everywhere. That's part of it. That's what they do. You are going to school supposedly to get an education. Just because you are not going to school for that reason doesn't mean that you should hold the NCAA accountable for that. That's on you. If you are not going to school for the education, knowing that that's what you are accepting an academics or an athletic scholarship, but you're accepting it because of your athletic talents to get an education. Just because you don't value what you're getting doesn't mean you're not getting anything. But that's besides the point. My point on all this is this: coaches leave a program. Every player that was recruited by that coach should be able to up and go, not sit out a year. But I've been playing for this coach for 2 years, heading into year 3. I see good talent coming in. I don't want to have to, I don't want to lose my starting spot. Coach says I'm still going to play it, but I'm going to leave anyway. I don't like that. That's just me. That's old school in me. That's fine. I'm only 30, but I know a lot of old people don't agree with me a lot. They usually agree with me on that. It is what it is. But over 1,000, you mean to? I mean, is college athletics that bad? Is men's college basketball so bad that over 1,000 kids all of a sudden find themselves in this mental health situation that their lives are just so bad? 1,000. If we should just shut down college athletics, if it's this mentally taxing on these kids, it sounds horrible. And it's not, but it sounds horrible. I don't know. I'll let you rip into me tomorrow. I did that on purpose. No. We'll talk tomorrow, folks. Have a great night. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Debbie's going to kill you.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.